things I thought I'd put away, and I'm all surrounded by the things I thought I'd put away. There's a pile.
Oh, you have to excuse me. I'm a little out of breath. I was almost late for the show. Conor Garland was lying on top of me in the hallway and wouldn't let me come in. So I had to forcibly get in to anyway. Yeah, I'm here now, so we're good to go. Hey, hope you had a great weekend. We'll have a little bit to talk about this afternoon. Reid Wilkins with Jay Milne on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Of course, Connor McDavid has had his hearing with the NHL DOPS, the DOPS, the Department of Player Safety, the most clear and consistent governing body in the history of sports. Tyler Myers, as well, as both McDavid and Myers delivered cross-checks at the end of the game Saturday night in Vancouver. Of course, we'll have plenty to discuss there. Hopefully we get news of the lengths of the suspensions and maybe even the always interesting to listen to suspension videos as we move along throughout the afternoon. John Klingberg practiced with the Edmonton Oilers today. You're going to hear from him. You'll hear from head coach Chris Knobloch. You'll hear from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins as well. Nuge is going to comment both on Klingberg and on some of the abuse Connor McDavid has taken over the course of his career. Here's the headline for Klingberg, I can tell you right now. Chris Knobloch said no exact timeline for when he debuts, but Klingberg said he would like to play before the break. I would certainly think that's realistic, since there's still, 9 games before the Four Nations face-off. And then Knobloch, when asked a little bit more about it, he said, well, probably at least a week. So that would, just going by the schedule, mean that next Monday night when the Oilers host Seattle would be the earliest that John Klingberg could get into a game. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk some football as well. I want to tell you this, a guy who spends his off seasons here in Edmonton, he's the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes. Jason Moss is going to join us. And we might talk about some of the NFL action from the past 2 days, including the game that happened on Saturday night in Detroit.
Woo.
As Jason Mills' Washington Commanders have advanced to the National Football Conference Championship game. Quick congratulations. Even though you had nothing to do with it.
Absolutely
I congratulate you. It's always funny when fans congratulate. Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. Well, thanks. That run I made on 3rd and 2 was pretty vital.
I think it's the long-standing pain and suffering that former Redskin, now Commanders fans have all had to endure. So that would be what the thanks are for. That's what the, hey, attaboy, good job, glad for you, happy for you. I appreciate it all, even though I had absolutely nothing to do with it. But I will say, I don't 100% agree with you, Reid, because the seating arrangement to start the game in our house, our neighbors came over. It was one of their birthdays earlier in the week, so we had them over on Saturday night and we watched the game. So limited seats, and as you know, I give up the best seats to my guests. So I was stuck in what some may think is the best chair. It's the massage chair we have. It's actually my mother-in-law's, but it's in the corner. And unless you're having a massage, it's quite uncomfortable to sit in. So here I was perched in that chair for the entire game because once it started, they got off to a good start. And then I said, oh, shoot, I don't even have my jersey on. I'm not even ready. And it was decided upon by the group that I needed to stay in that chair in what I was wearing and watch the entire game there. So I do have a clip that I sent Coob that we'll show later of the ebbs and flows of that game. My wife was taking videos.
Did we show part of it now?
Sure, you can run it now. I don't know if Coob has it ready yet.
Is it ready or not, Coob?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we'll show it now and later, I think. No, not that one.
So yeah, here I am huddled in the chair.
There's got to be audio.
There's
no profanity, is there?
No, there's no swearing. Go ahead, yeah.
Yes! Let's go! Let's go!
Well, you're up out of the chair. In that
I popped
video.
out. Yes,
you didn't stay in the chair the
I
entire game.
didn't stay in the chair. Yes, but it was now. So the starting of the video sees how curled up in a ball I was in that chair.
Which play was that?
That was late in the game. They're driving to go up by by 3 scores. It was 38-28 at this point, and they were driving to go up. And it was at this was the point I felt that the game was starting to get out of hand. You could start seeing, as a Washington fan, that this might be happening because it was too good to be true earlier. But yeah, it was a great night.
Well, we'll dive a little deeper
We'll
into
get
the
deep
NFL
into it,
stuff
yeah.
because the games were all interesting and entertaining. And I guess, they were all relatively close. I mean, down to at least fourth quarter-ish, if not the last possession.
Yeah, the Chiefs game was interesting for other reasons, as we both discussed earlier. But we'll get into a good recap of those as we go along here.
All right, so plenty to talk about this afternoon. We're going to have a really interesting top 3 for food sausage a little bit later on in the show. You may want to look up cow's hooves if you want to participate. I'll just leave it there. And, of course, you can time in. Oh, you know what? I'm glad Mex, as you know, I get easily distracted. Mex Bezozu says burgundy and gold is a strong color scheme. I didn't say this last week. It was one of those things in my head to say on the show, and then it never came up or I forgot. That Sunday nighter last Sunday, Buccaneers versus Commanders, that was a great uniform combo. As I think the Bucks crimson and pewter is the best uniform in North American pro sports in the big 4 leagues.
I like that you used the word pewter.
Yes,
that is
those
accurate.
are the official colors.
Yes.
And I love, I know the Commanders did subtle changes to the color scheme when they did the name change, and I am all for it. I think that shade of red or burgundy or whatever they're using,
Sharp.
I like that W logo. I really like it.
I do too. Yep.
And I thought that was a great looking game last Sunday night. Anyway, we're happy to hear from you this afternoon, and we're going to guess that many of you have many things to say, whether it's about Connor McDavid or John Klingberg or Tyler Myers or Evan Bouchard for that matter. If you're in the nasty chat participating on YouTube, of course, you can discuss things with each other. And please give us a thumbs up as well because, man, oh man, we're feeling good about those thumbs. Like if everybody gave us a thumbs up right now, we're already in word of the day territory. So let's hammer the thumbs up immediately. Don't be a pleasure delayer. What did we get to last show? 260?
269 or 268. It was up there.
Because the old record was 170. Didn't I say we broke it by 90?
Yeah, but it kept moving. I think it was 278.
So we almost broke it. Okay. So that was good. Keep those coming. You can email reid@edmontonsportstalk.com. I always love getting an email. I always love getting a limerick in the email. I already have one. We'll read that later on. And if you are texting the show, it's going to the River Cree inbox. 780-218-9999 is the number. River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the Kitchen Restaurant. All-you-can-eat prime rib buffet for just $49.99 every Sunday from 4 to 10 p.m. The River Cree inbox is 780-218-9999. You're looking at me like you have something clever to say or somebody said something clever to you.
Somebody did say something clever to me. And Coob, do you have that clip that we ended the show with last week?
Jeez.
Tommy?
What do you mean it's gone?
What do you mean?
You mean the soundbite?
Yes.
You ready? We got to get that on here. That would be ideal. So Bronco Nick wrote into the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999, if you want to share your thoughts. Bronco Nick says, hey, guys, the hearing with McDavid was brief. The league asked one question. Connor, what were you thinking? Connor replied,
Playing. Stop playing.
Okay, Coob, we'll fix it.
We'll try it again.
We'll fix it.
We'll try it again.
Well, it's new. It's new.
It is new. It's a new toy.
We want to have
there's
it
going to
ready.
be some hiccups.
We want to have it ready. Here's a good question from Arthur in the nasty chat. How do people pick favorite teams when they don't live in that city? Just wondering. Well, why did you pick the Washington team?
Well, it's because
Do you remember?
I do, because when we were growing up, there was a Washington, at that point, Redskins jersey in our house. I don't know how or why, but I was the only one that would fit it or could fit it, so I was wearing that around. And I didn't even really know what the NFL was at that point. So when I started getting to know them, I thought that we were associated as a family with Washington.
You guys were you guys were scouted.
It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. My middle daughter is a Chiefs fan because all she's ever watched is Chiefs win championships. So I got news for you, Rose. It ain't going to be that rosy for your entire life. You're going to go through some personal torment being a Chiefs fan. But for now, it's pretty good. But it's the weirdest thing. I don't know, A lot of Seahawks fans like you,
But
you
I
grew up watching it, right?
But no, I didn't start cheering for them until 2004.
Okay.
When I knew my buddy and I were going to a game.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, I'll really follow them this year. And they weren't great, but they were sort of on the way up to the team that went to the, I think, 06 Super Bowl and lost to Pittsburgh. That was sort of where that team started building. So I followed them and as a result became a fan. So it has nothing to do with the TV stuff or even the proximity to Seattle. It's that I went to a game and started following them and sort of decided that would be my team. I think for other teams, Arthur, I would think baseball for people like me who as kids cheered for the Expos and Blue Jays was pretty obvious. They were on TV and they're Canadian, but there are a lot of other Blue Jays and Expos fans still in the city, though I know there's Cubs, Dodgers, and whatever else. I mean, by default, a lot of basketball fans would cheer for the Raptors, though there's a lot of Bulls if you were a fan in the 90s. So I don't know.
Neat.
That's what Arthur's...
That's a great question, though.
Yeah.
That would be a great off-topic topic.
Let's make it our off-topic topic.
Okay.
Well, because this one we can save.
Sure.
So that'll be our off-topic topic. How did you pick... Or did we do this one already? I think we might have done this one already.
Well... We don't remember, so we could do it again.
Okay. How did you pick your favorite teams that aren't Edmonton-based? That is the off-topic topic for William Huff. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website, williamhuff.com. Give them a shout at 780-454-4536. So the question is, the off-topic topic is, how did you pick your favorite team if it's not an Edmonton team or a sport that doesn't, like you have a favorite NBA team. I don't know if, maybe not everybody knows, Edmonton doesn't have an NBA team. So how did you pick yours if there's someone you really care about?
Well, Bronco Nick also wrote into the River Cree inbox. For me, a Broncos fan, I saw the Broncos on TV, and they wore similar colors to the Oilers. Saw John Elway sling it, and he reminded me of Warren Moon. Never looked back.
Pat Bolin from Edmonton.
Yes.
He was the owner of the Broncos, right? Eventually.
Yes.
Was he played for the Huskies?
He was a Huskies
some
guy.
point in his life.
Yeah.
So I think that's another reason. It is. I mean, Arthur also says, I'm a massive Oilers fan, but I live here. Other teams, I could care less. Do you want to do it or do you want me to do it?
You go ahead.
Arthur, it's I couldn't care less, by the way, if you're trying to say that you don't care. And yes, I am going to correct grammar. Until my entire run on this show, that's going to happen. Could be 2040 and we'll be correcting grammar. Right. But I guess I think what Arthur specifically is saying with Jay cheering for Washington, I think the question is, how did you pick your favorite team in a league in which Edmonton does not have a team? So baseball, NFL, NBA. I think that would be the question. Andrew says we did a second team list, second favorite team like this. Or a team you like if you have a second favorite team. Though, of course, as you know, I'm kind of object to the whole ideas of second favorite teams. A lot of people chose the Packers because the colors are the same as the Elks.
Yep.
Over the years, like it's funny, like how,
like Smith TM14. I see you chatting. You're a 49ers fan, if I'm not mistaken. How did that happen? And I don't even know the genesis of how our very own CEO Dustin Nielsen became a Lions fan.
I don't know.
There's got to be a story there.
And so for people, so I was born in 1974. I would think you would find a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but I think you would find a noticeable number of people around my age who cheered for the 49ers because when they were 7, 8 years old, that's when they started having deep playoff runs and winning Super Bowls.
Yeah. So he says, my dad.
Right.
Right. And I think there's a lot of connections between, that was my uncle's favorite team, or that's the team we always had on at Christmas, or, there's emotional family ties with a lot of
and then you start watching, and then you keep watching, and then it becomes your favorite team. Like, if I had to be pressed for an NBA team, I guess I would say the Raptors, but really I was a bandwagon fan in 19.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA, it's, I don't know. I guess Raptors, if you had to. I don't know why I know why. My mother-in-law is a big Golden State Warriors fan. So if Golden State's ever on, that's on the TV.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Does she like Klay Thompson?
Steph Curry, obviously.
She likes Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr, sure. Who doesn't? Bills.
All right, so that'll be your off-topic topic. If you have for a favorite team you have that's not an Edmonton-based team, and in a sport in which Edmonton does not have a team, how did you pick your favorite team and why? Or how did you pick your favorite team?
Lots coming in on the River Cree inbox. We will get to them.
Couple other things to hit on briefly here, and then we'll dive deeper into a little bit later on. Is it CFP, College Football Playoff?
Yeah.
It's the NCAA Football Championship game. That's the easiest way to call it, even if they don't call it that. It is, Ohio State?
Yeah.
Their mascot is Brutus, the guy with the big head, against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
The Leprechaun.
And their mascot is a real leprechaun. Leprechauns are real.
Oh, you believe that? TBD,
Well,
bro?
it's their mascot.
Well, that leprechaun is real. Our leprechaun's real.
Are pots of gold real?
Oh.
Can you follow a rainbow and get a pot of gold? I say possibly. So that'll be tonight. Is it right at 6 or does it start at 5:30 still? I didn't even check. I think it probably doesn't start till 6.
Yeah, probably. That means it probably doesn't start till 6:20.
And then today is also, and I didn't even realize this till I double checked, because we were talking about this a bit last week. Today is what's called Blue Monday, allegedly the saddest day of the year. And I always, as you know, whatever, but especially now, because I looked up Blue Monday this morning, it was started by a British travel company, and they said based on research. So it's even less of a real thing than I thought it was to begin with. I mean, I guess there's some logic. It's like you're removed from Christmas. You know, you've probably given up on your New Year's resolutions already. Well, so much for losing 10 pounds. I've gained 10. Guess I'll wait till next January. So it's totally a fake thing. Even more like it's the fakiest fake thing you could ever fake. All right. I saw a good one. Double A, Bulls fan because of Jordan, Pippen, Kerr, Grant, and Kukoc. Andrew E, my favorite NBA team, the Mavericks, because of Dirk. Yeah, star player, right? Dirk Nowitzki. Double A, again, 49ers because of Rice, Montana, Young. So that's that era as well. So we'll keep going to those. Has Arthur chimed in before? He's got some good stuff today. If you listen to Coast, Leprechauns Are Real. I don't know if he's referencing how I used to talk about Coast to Coast on my previous job. That was such a beautiful show. It was like on 2 to 5 a.m. I think it's still going, but it's not on Ched anymore. But if I had an early shift, you'd get to hear it. Like this guy was all in with whatever, like mummies, leprechauns, vampires, aliens, you know, the conspiracy du jour. And he would just sell it so good through the course of the interviews. So anyway, thank you, Arthur, for a little bit of nostalgia there. It's 3:20. We'll talk McDavid. We'll talk cross-checking. But first, we got the Coop.
In response to Connor McDavid's cross-check to the head of Conor Garland Saturday night, the league had a hearing with McDavid regarding the incident, and details on the league's response are soon to come. And clearing through waivers, Derek Ryan heads to Bakersfield to report to the Condors, while John Klingberg had his first practice for the Oilers, having head coach Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg won't see any action for at least a week. And with 9 games on the schedule, the Wild are up 3-1 on the Avs midway through the third. The Kraken lead the Sabres 3-2 halfway in the second before the Jets battle the Hockey Club. The Penguins face the Kings, and the Blue Jackets go at it with the Islanders. And down south, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are hiring former former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. In basketball, 3 games are ongoing, seeing the Knicks taking the lead against the Hawks in the fourth, 107-100. The Cavs hold the Suns 82-64 near the end of the third, and the Celtics are up early on the Warriors 8-4. Later, the Jazz play the Pelicans, and the LA Clippers host Chicago. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since '93. They sell doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course, plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff today at Windsor Plywood Leduc. The Reid Wilkins Show returns on the other side of the break. Here on EST, I'm Zachary Kubish.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups. From farm tractors to school buses to a big rig. From diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
The grand opening sale at Sit and Sleep is almost over. This is your last chance to take advantage of the special introductory sale prices on all mattresses. Stop in today for a free pressure point scan using cutting-edge technology so sleepologists can identify the perfect mattress for you. Right now, get free local delivery on any mattress over $7.99 and receive a free bamboo cooling mattress protector. Enjoy grand opening savings with every mattress on sale. Join us on location today for the final celebration at Sit and Sleep in South Common next to Planet Fitness. Don't miss out. The grand opening sale ends soon.
All right, thanks a lot for checking out the show this afternoon. Jay and I are in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law with over 200 years of experience. James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit jameshbrown.com today and book your private consultation. Trent Brown from James H. Brown was on the show on Friday. He was very energetic and enthusiastic, which we appreciate. Oilers practiced today, as did the Washington Capitals. They skated at the downtown community arena while the Oilers were on the ice at Rogers Place. John Klingberg skated with the Oilers, as did Connor McDavid with his regular line mates of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman, even though we expect McDavid to be suspended for tomorrow's game. 7 o'clock game tomorrow night at Rogers Place. 6 o'clock for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show with the amazing Tom Gazzola and the equally amazing Hernan Salas. And then they'll check in after the game as well. 6-game homestand starting up for the Edmonton Oilers. Okay, well, we hit a good spur-of-the-moment off-topic for William Huff. Why do you cheer for whatever non-Edmonton-based sports team you cheer for, specifically in a league in which Edmonton does not have a team?
This one was interesting. This comes in from Plumber Topher. Ravens fan here. Reason? I wanted to start following NFL last year. Didn't know a team to choose. I was hunting with a buddy, and I love Ravens in the wild. He told me I should choose Ravens, so I did. Sorry about your loss yesterday, Plumber Topher. There's only room for 4 now.
Tough finish.
A lot of people are also saying I'm a fan because of this player, Haas says I'm a big Miami Dolphins fan because of Dan Marino. Lucky Charlie says Cowboys because of Aikman, Smith, Irvin, Sanders, etc. Hermitage J, I like this one as well. As a staunch CFL fan as a kid, I was always a little upset that there wasn't a CFL video game. So as a Riders fan, I had to pick a green and white team if I was going to imagine Joe Pow Pow hitting streaking Elgard down the middle. At the time with Cunningham and Dickinson, the Eagles were the top choice, and it stuck when I actually started to get into the NHL or NFL.
I will say this to keep a topic going that we brought up a little bit last week. There may not be a CFL video game. There is a CFL cards and dice game.
Yes.
Play.com, PLAAY.com. It is called Cold Snap. That's a great
Dang, what a name.
Whatever you want to call
it. We're going to play. We should live stream that. The NFL. Reid, I'm telling you.
I don't know if it would be that interesting to live stream an entire game because the game's going to take us hours. We'll play it over the course of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll live stream certain drives or key moments maybe.
We got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Reid brought in the video, the board game that he was talking about.
I brought in second season football, the NFL one.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, what would you call those?
There's a lot of charts. Yeah. You have to like stats.
Yeah.
And you have to be patient. And that's why even though there are two teams, most people play it solo. They'll call the plays for one team and do some kind of a dice roll to determine the play call for the other team. Mr. Bleach in the nasty chat, by the way, keep giving us thumbs up. We're almost at 100. Let's get there in the next couple of minutes and just get that done. Mr. Bleach says, first time I've seen Reid in a while, starting to look like Grizzly Adams. Thank you. I actually trimmed the beard up a bit yesterday on the sides. I don't know if you could tell.
Sure.
Because the hairs start, I like that it's kind of thicker down around the chin, though.
Keep you warm?
Yeah. I do think some people are bothered by it.
Bothered?
Yeah, well, some people don't like facial hair.
My wife doesn't like facial hair.
Well, she's probably bothered by my appearance.
No, she, to be honest, could care less what you think looks
Sorry,
good.
she could what? She couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less. This is what happens when we talk about these words all along. But I've now committed to growing whatever this is on my face.
Yeah, what is it?
Until until
it's a
my
playoff
team
beard.
loses.
It's an NFL playoff beard.
So, I mean, it continues. Is she happy about that? I don't think so. It's terrible.
My
it's
beard
awful.
is shockingly white. Like, it's not salt and pepper, it's salt.
So
it's
what?
snow.
That's okay, right? You're not.
Well, I'm aging. What am I going to do about it?
Yeah. I mean, geez, you're 72.
Not quite. Hopefully someday.
My mistake.
You and I doing the show together. By the way, portions of this hour presented by Canadian Brewhouse. Book your party at the CBH, your ultimate destination for events, parties, and fundraisers, and more. Visit and book now at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. All right. What were you thinking? Now, having said that, you watched Commanders over Oilers until that game was done, right?
Yes.
Then did you flip to Oilers? Or were you too busy? So what were you thinking at the end of the game?
What a game. The
Oilers game. Sorry.
The Oilers game.
With
That's
the
what
schmozzle.
I mean. Yeah.
Rob Tichkowski called it a schmozzle, asking Nuge a question today. And Nuge kind of laughed, and he's like, schmozzle's a good word for it.
Yeah, I immediately had to go back and watch the entire game because I thought the entire game was like that. Turns out it wasn't.
No, it wasn't really. It was kind of a low-event game, actually.
Turns out it was actually quite a boring game, but the Oilers got themselves in trouble early, started to come back, and then that happened, which took over, obviously, the bulk of the conversation.
Right.
For good reason. I mean, a lot of things happened at the end of that game that made for great conversation and questions. But I assumed, oh man, dang it, I missed a classic. Well, no, just a classic half period. But yeah, it is what it is. In reviewing what happened, because I want to hear what you say about this too, Reid. But in reviewing what happened, it was clear that Conor Garland was, holding McDavid by, he kind of chicken winged him, had his arm, so it looked like McDavid couldn't get up, although he wanted to. So McDavid, checks him in the back, gets up. Garland comes again and, hip tackles him, so to speak. And McDavid had enough. I am extremely happy that he took the best part of his stick and drove it into that guy's neck. I am. What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to just get up and be, oh, ho hum? people want to talk about the refs. Refs suck in every league. The refs aren't going to have exactly the call you want whenever you want. It does go both ways for the most case, unless you're playing the Chiefs. But the refs are going to make poor calls here, poor calls there, not see something here, and they decided to let that go. Well, that's the consequence of allowing that to continually happen. Conor Garland deserved that. Connor McDavid, I bet he was getting ass slaps all the way back to the locker room, to the change room of his teammates, proud of him for standing up. The one that I just don't get is the other cross-check on Bouchard. I don't know where that came from, what the backstory was on that. And Connor McDavid just blew a little bit of a fuse. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay as watching your team captain go out there and take matters into his own hands. Yeah.
Well, I think Connor McDavid will be suspended. Hopefully we get some news during the course of this show. I think Tyler Myers will be suspended. I think they should be suspended. Cross-checking somebody in the head is wrong and is dangerous. So as just a hockey fan, someone who likes watching the sport, I recognize that cross-checking can be a very dangerous play, and it's a sport that doesn't want shots to the head. If for people who listen to me on my old show, you know this. If you're getting to know me now, I don't like cross-checking in general. I think there's too much cross-checking in the NHL, including the little digs into a guy's back and clearing the front of the net. I just don't understand. This is kind of a side note here. I don't understand why they allow as much cross-checking as they do. And to me, if I have the puck, Jay, and I position my body to put my body between the puck and the net, and you come up behind me and start driving little bunny cross-checks into my lower back, that should be illegal.
Yes.
As an offensive player, I've gained position. You're going to have to find a way to get it back other than cross-check, but they allow that. And I used to talk about this with Kelly Rudy, and he's like, no, he goes, those little cross-checks are part of the game. He goes, that's something an offensive player has to deal with. So whatever. I'm probably in the minority on my overall feelings about cross-checking. But look, I just rewatched it again for however many times just to see it fresh. McDavid was mad. He got up. He didn't care where the puck was, and he went after Garland. I mean, at that point, he probably knew there was less than 5 seconds left and they weren't going to score. And he cross-checked Garland. Did he mean to specifically hit him in the face or the side of the head? Was he going for the arm or the shoulder, and Garland was sort of moving at the time? I don't know. But he's that's not a cross-check for position or for, like I said, trying to get the puck back. That's a cross-check to send a message to a guy, to maybe injure him, right? So it should be a suspension. He hit him in the head. Tyler Myers, same thing. I mean, and this is the thing. I wasn't sure if I was going to say this because I know people are going to say, "Oh, you're just saying this because you cover the Oilers." Maybe I am. I don't think so though. To me, the Myers cross-check is worse.
I totally agree. Bouchard's hands are down. He's coming just to do the dance, to do the thing. Conor Garland at least put his hands up. He knew what was coming. Evan Bouchard did not.
Maybe he should have. But
why? What did he do? I don't understand. Why?
Well, I guess after the whistle, you're not expecting to get drilled like that. So you're saying Garland's probably thinking...
Garland knew it was coming.
Here he comes.
Okay, let me put it this way then, Reid. Corey Perry does the exact same thing to Elias Pettersson. Holding him down on the ice. Pettersson gets up after checking Perry in the back, and then Perry tackles him down again. You'd say, that's Perry. Way to get under the star player's skin.
Yeah,
that's what you'd say.
Yes, and this is the beauty of it. I just think to some extent this is hockey.
Yeah,
I mean, even Draisaitl said it after the game. He goes, "That's hockey. That's emotion." Didn't even Garland call McDavid a good dude after the game and just said he's frustrated and got a little mad at me?
Well, that's what Garland's doing his job.
Now, having said that, you don't want a bad result. You don't want You don't want McDavid getting him cleanly in the jaw and breaking his jaw and costing him the rest of the season. Well, I don't want that. Maybe some.
No, and Connor McDavid certainly wouldn't want that either. That wasn't what he had planned. Everything that he wanted to happen happened. He sent a message to Garland, to the Canucks, and the rest of the league. Said, enough.
Right. And this is a whole other debate. And it's interesting this is happening twice in less than a week because we talked about it with the little chicken wing on Johansson last week, which actually did cause the player to miss. He's on IR, isn't he? Like Johansson could miss significant time here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it also brings up the thing, well, if the Oilers had a tough guy, this wouldn't happen. If the Oilers fought more, this wouldn't happen. I guess we'll never know. I just think we also have to always remember, yes, Wayne Gretzky had Semenko and Messier and McClelland. Okay, Messier is a different category, but he would go out there and do things too. But things still happened, right? Like star players, even with tough guys on the team, still got picked on. And in that moment, okay, so the Oilers have Josh Brown. Like I saw somebody posting, well, if Josh Brown would have beat up Zadorov 2 weeks ago in Boston, Garland doesn't do that. Yes, he does. Because he's protecting a lead in the final 30 seconds and Josh Brown isn't on the ice. So in that moment, I don't have a problem with a star player sticking up for himself. McDavid doesn't need to go to the bench or go into the dressing room after the game. Hey, or on the on the flight back to Edmonton. Hey, Josh, did you see what Garland was doing? Yeah, we play them again on Thursday. Can you do something about that? Like, McDavid's going to stand up and do something about it. So look, it's a dirty play. It's a dirty play by Myers. They're both going to be punished. Is this ever going to leave hockey or leave the NHL? I hate to break it to you, probably not. I mean, I can sit here all afternoon and say, don't hit a guy in the head, don't cross-check. Anger and aggression and perhaps even overreaction are likely always going to be some part of the game. Now, fighting is a smaller part of the game. But again, I don't know if the Oilers had more fighters on the team if that stops Conor Garland from doing that. I remember I brought it up to Gazdick. A few games prior, Conor Garland was trying to annoy Tom Wilson.
Yeah.
Like Tom Wilson could maim Conor Garland. So I always think of this too, and you make a great point. What if an Oiler had a little rat, or they have Corey Perry, who can be a bigger rat. Conor Garland does not make the NHL at his size if he doesn't play like that. Conor Garland does not have the trust of Rick Tocchet to defend a lead in the final minute if Tocchet doesn't know, I know this guy's going to go balls out for my team to get 2 points tonight. And Rick Tocchet would probably also be the first one to understand why Conor got up and did that. Because if you're not old enough to remember Rick Tocchet's career as a player, go look at his points and his penalty minutes. It's more than Conor's points and penalty minutes combined, and Conor got more points than him.
Well, and I'm not even suggesting, I don't know if you could hear the tone, but I'm not angry at Conor Garland. I think he was doing what he thought was best for his team at that moment, which was agitating and irritating and getting under the skin of the best player in the world, protecting a 3-2 lead. That happens. You're talking about grown-ass men, competitive men that are going after it. You're going to have somebody snap and blow a fuse every once in a while. Now, okay, Oilers fans, would you rather Connor McDavid just drop the gloves and start going to town on him? Maybe, because then it's a defined, okay, Connor, you're out for the rest of the game. 5-minute major, that's it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have got a penalty. You wouldn't have a suspension. I would have been okay with that, but, what if Connor McDavid breaks his hand on Garland's helmet?
Yeah, you don't want him fighting.
You don't want him fighting, but that's it. That's option A and option B. Other players in the league would have fought in that instance, and that's why fighting is still allowed. But it's a hockey play. It's a hockey sequence.
Well, and it's more newsworthy, and of course it is because it's Connor McDavid. You mentioned Corey Perry. If Corey Perry would have got taken down by Conor Garland and then stood up and cross-checked him across the side of the head, he still would have got the 2-game or whatever it's going to be suspension. But people would be like, oh, yeah, well, that's Perry. Well, maybe this is going to be McDavid now. And then you said it. Was anybody in that room, ashamed of Connor McDavid after the game? No. No Oilers sitting there thinking, I can't believe my captain did that.
Yeah, that's not good leadership. No, that's great leadership.
No, they're thinking like, hey, man, fight for your space.
Yeah, that's great.
And I know people are going to say, well, Connor shouldn't have to do it himself. Fair enough, but in that moment, he does. Because like I said, the game is ending. There's no next shift. And I don't think he's thinking at that time, we play them Thursday. He's thinking he's frustrated about that moment. So it was I almost hate to say this because this might make the sport sound not great. It's kind of a normal sequence, quite frankly. And we were watching Matthews on the Buffalo guy from Dallin, right? From almost 3 years ago. Kind of similar, maybe a little worse. He got 2 games. But it was the same thing. Matthews drives the net. Dallin kind of checks him. Okay. Matthews tries to get up, gets pushed down. Matthews stands up. Dallin fires him into the crossbar. So Matthews turns around and cross-checks him in the side of the head. Like, I do think star players in those moments have to say enough. I might hurt you. Maybe not every time, but I might hurt you. Do you want to be the guy?
Yeah.
Like, I know it's law of the jungle and it's not beautiful and it's can be dangerous.
Reid, that's professional sports. That's competitiveness. You're going to have that happen. And for the rest of the team to see that, for the rest of the NHL to see that, is good. I think there's, other than obviously losing your leader for 2 games or whatever it may turn out to be, can you imagine if he only gets a fine? Can you imagine?
Well, I think there'll be suspensions. I think they both get 2 games. I don't think they're playing against each other. Myers
right.
And like, honestly, and again, maybe this. I hope I'm not being a homer because I'm just trying to think about these. I do think if it were me, Myers would get more, but the league just might make it the same. Okay, we're late into the sports update. We're going to get to buying or selling from Damon Bunting. We'll get some of your feedback on this as well. You're also going to hear from John Kilngberg. It's the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne.
After receiving a match penalty in Saturday's game for cross-checking Canucks forward Conor Garland, Connor McDavid has faced the league for a hearing on his infraction, and details on the league's response have yet to be disclosed. Earlier today, John Klingberg suited up for his first practice in Edmonton, with head coach Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg will not play for at least a week. Elsewhere, Derek Ryan has cleared waivers. And right now in the NHL, the Kraken hold the Sabres 4-3 at the end of 40 minutes, and the Wild took the Avs 3-1. After that, the Maple Leafs and Lightning dropped the puck. The Penguins play with the Kings, and Utah hosts Winnipeg on a 9-game slate. Meanwhile, in football, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are hiring former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. And 4 games decided, 2 games are ongoing in the NBA. Just moments ago, the Knicks etched out the Hawks 19-110, and right now the Cavs stand 105-76 on the Suns halfway through the 4th, while the Celtics carry a 29-18 lead into the 2nd against the Warriors. Later, Utah is on the road in New Orleans before Chicago plays the LA Clippers. This sports update is brought to you by Sit and Sleep. Transform your home at a fraction of the cost during Sit and Sleep's winter clearance event. For massive discounts on major sleep brands to unbeatable deals on Canadian-made custom furniture, Sit and Sleep's winter clearance event is a can't miss. Plus, enjoy free local white glove delivery and special financing offers to help you bring home the best. Visit Sit and Sleep today in South Common. Next to Planet Fitness. On the other side of the break, we return with buying or selling for Damon Bunting. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you you take your business to the next level.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Why did you leave me so fast? You never gave me a helping chance. Your fallout stayed with me, consumed me. I know you can see me, but what I am and always will be.
This is Jay Milne on the lyrics, on the vocals. Sorry, not on the lyrics, on the vocals. Which song was that again? Do you remember? That has
Fallout.
to be. Oh, that's a Brody song.
No, we re-recorded it.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounded a little more North Shore-esque. So you have the same. You have the same album. Is it the same song on both your? Oh, sorry.
We just thought that one was not done a good enough service on the first go round.
Oh, okay.
We threw it on the second album.
That was your hit.
Maybe, bruh.
Maybe, brah. Get us, there are a lot of you who have not hit thumbs up on YouTube or the Nasty Chat. I know maybe you're at work or you're in a meeting or, your boss wants a memo or something like that. But no excuse to not, or just tell your boss, like, hey, boss, hang on, Reid and Jay need something. Okay?
Oh, and by the way, boss, can you sign up?
Yeah.
And if your boss hasn't subscribed, make sure your boss subscribes.
Yeah. And then when he does, be like, hey, boss, take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. Is that Kenny Rogers? Who was that? Or was it Dolly Parton? No, that was Islands in the Stream. Who did? Oh, was it? Who did take this job and shove it?
I like how you're looking at me, expecting me to know this.
Well, you know a lot about that style of music. Take this job and shove it. Who did that? Was it Conway Twitty? I don't know. Somebody put it in the Nasty Chat or text the River Free inbox 780-218-9999. Yeah, we could Google it.
Johnny Paycheck?
Sure. Johnny Paycheck.
Johnny Paycheck.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. That's all I remember from that song. All right. The off-topic topic for William Huff. Let's get a couple more of those before we get to more McDavid discussion and Oilers discussion. Why do you cheer for the non-Edmonton-based sports team for which you cheer?
This one came in from Paul. Growing up in Victoria, it was whichever NBA team Steve Nash played for, and NWA made me a Raiders fan. That's the former rap band.
Right.
Ian in Morinville. Growing up in Ontario, watched a lot of Bills games. I became a Dallas fan because of the cheerleaders in the early 70s. Appreciate your honesty. Donnie Boy. Chicago Bears and Cubs fan here. His family is from Chicago, but he was born and raised in Edmonton. Love watching the Bulls in their heyday. Now a Raptors fan.
Nice.
So keep them coming in.
Give us some applause.
I don't even know if Coob has my board on, but we'll try it. Wait, Reid,
People will think I'm a seal on YouTube.
VR Montenegro says Bengals because Tigers are the best of the big cats. Astros because of Nolan Ryan and sweet uniforms. And Spurs because of the Admiral and Duncan, a.k.a. the Twin Towers.
Oh, yeah. Good teams. We got to 100 thumbs already, so let's keep climbing. At 1:30, Jay will unlock the word of the day, so we want to get to there because we have a sweet intro for it.
It's a banger today.
I think we're going to get a sponsor for it. Is the library going to sponsor the word of the day? They should.
I need to find some way to get in touch with the owner of Edmonton Public Libraries. Would that be the mayor?
Well, yeah, no, not the owner. It would be someone who does their advertising. Or they would have somebody who handles
I'm
that.
sure
the CEO, they have a CEO.
Of the 185 people that are watching right now, somebody has a contact for me for the Edmonton Public Library because this just makes too much sense.
Yeah.
We've said it all
I've been
along.
talking about how much more reading I've been doing in the past year. Most of the books I've taken out digitally on the Libby app.
Even I know that.
Mooner goes to the library all the time and gets books to take on road trips.
I mean, just makes too much sense. So if you do, email Jay at edmontonsportstalk.com and put me in contact. You can email me about other things too, but specifically that.
I have 3 limericks. I'll get to this one right away from Uncle Jesse. On the drive home with Reid Wilkins' flair, Edmonton sports fans stay aware. McDavid's fate looming, tensions all consuming, but Reid and Jay keep the chat light as air. Pretty good from Uncle Jesse.
That is very good.
Well, I have 2 other limericks that I will get to a little bit later on. We're talking the McDavid. Well, we're assuming he's getting suspended. We'll dive more into Klingberg and some other topics as we move along throughout the afternoon. We are giving you buying or selling here for Damon Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, Instagram handle, Damon Bunting Real Estate. Are people buying or selling that McDavid did the right thing?
I would say in general, most people are more upset. Well, okay, I'd say they're buying that McDavid's in the right. Okay, but they're also selling on referees. There's a lot of discussion about referees, and you know what? I think it's a great discussion. You nasties listening, watching, you create, you mold, you form our show. So if that's what you think is the issue, we'll definitely talk about it. Liquid Beaver says, "Hey boys, my frustration is with the reffing in general. They call the ticky-tacky stuff stick in the hands, for example, and totally ignore a good portion of the cross-checking, slashing, and interference. If you call the rule book as it was intended instead of game management like the officials do, a lot of this retaliation stuff would not happen." I think that is a very well sums up a lot of the frustrations that Oilers fans have right now.
Well, I think it was in the first period, JT Miller, who is quite aggressive in his own right, gave Bouchard a pretty strong cross push, like a cross-check style hit, a little bit of ways from the boards. And Bouchard turned around and gave him a little whap on the arm, and he got the slashing penalty. And I also think refs to some degree should let the players take care of it themselves. Did this guy slash this guy slashed him back. Okay, I'm not going to call it. Refs can say, "Okay, enough." "Okay, guys, I see it. Enough." Or, whatever. But I didn't think that was a great job by the refs on Saturday night, even before the ending.
Garland is a rat, and you can't have rats running around your property. Good for McDavid, and let's hope Garland faces some real justice on Thursday. That's interesting because there's a lot of nasties that are already looking forward to this matchup on Thursday. Even though the Oilers are playing the best team in the NHL tomorrow, this is obviously going to be a talking point. I really don't care if the Oilers win on Thursday. This comes in from Vern. The only goal should be pain and retribution. No, boy. Go after Quinn Hughes. Drive Garland's head into the glass. Start a line brawl off the opening faceoff. If a Canuck won't fight, too bad. Drop the gloves and pummel him anyways. That'll go a long way towards team building for the Oilers and showing the rest of the league they aren't a passive bunch. What say you to Vern, Reid?
Probably won't happen. There was a line brawl. Was it Rangers Devils a couple of years ago? It's been since Lazar was on the Devils, because Curtis Lazar was the one guy on the Devils who didn't get kicked out of the game, because a secondary fight you get kicked out of the game. So I think the refs deemed he was the first fight. There's a question: which 5 Oilers would you put on the ice to start a line brawl at the beginning of the game, knowing that 4 of them were going to get kicked out?
Ooh. Well, you'd have to have Philp out there for size.
Brown,
Perry.
But then he doesn't play the rest of the game.
Well,
or you just say, too bad.
What are you going to do?
Fighting, yeah.
This is an interesting question.
I don't think this is going to happen. Yeah.
What if it is? So what line? Okay, let me ask you this. What line starts Thursday's game?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Do you think there is any retribution on the mind of the Oilers players and staff? Honestly.
I hope so. In terms of here's what I always say. there's the stuff McDavid did, and there will be times players cross the lines. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with it to an extent. But go out there and be physical. Like that person said, well, jump Quinn Hughes or whatever. No, don't jump Quinn Hughes. But don't let up on a chance to quit hit. And I know with the star players, it's easier said than done to hit them. But finish your forecheck. Even if it's a little bit late, then fine, make Quinn Hughes react to it. Hey, I took a run at you. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
If Garland's in front of the net, make sure he's feeling a little pain when he's fighting for space in front of the net. You got a chance to line him up and that's honestly, guys, like I from doing this job as long as I have, there's always people who lament fight and there's not enough fighting. You know what I lament is finish your damn check. Like, don't peel off. Like a guy dumps a puck in and there's somebody coming to him and he peels off and goes, like, I know you got to be in position, but hit the guy. Like, that's a way to hold him up and make him think about it the next time he's coming down the wing. So I hope the Oilers have a bit of a physical mentality. I'm not saying that. I think the texter said, was it Vern, who basically said just throw the 2 points away or don't care about winning. I think you still got to try and win the game.
Well, what if they come out and beat them 6-1? A resounding victory in which they beat them up and down the ice with scoring, with intensity, with physical play. Yeah, maybe the odd, more than expected body check, but just a good old ass whooping.
Well, that'd be nice too.
That to me is...
But people want blood.
Sure, but there's a lot of blood in those 2 points, especially if you can humiliate a team that's in,
The last time I can remember having this much talk around it was the Kassian-Tkachuk conflict.
Turtle Boy.
In 2020. And actually, Mike Smith and Cam Talbot stole the show.
Yes.
Because I can't remember when they played. It might have been a December game when Tkachuk kind of took those runs at Kassian. And then they played, I think, on a Wednesday night at Rogers Place, and Tkachuk and Kassian fought off a face-off in the Calgary end of the rink. And then on the Saturday, that's when, in Calgary, that's when Smith and Talbot fought. But, in that case, it was Tkachuk and Kassian. You kind of knew they were probably going to fight. Because Kassian obviously would have no problem doing it, and Tkachuk knew he had to step up. Who's actually going to fight in this situation? Who's Garland going to fight? Jeff Skinner?
Well, maybe a Emberson or a Stetcher grabs hold of him.
Maybe Stetcher.
Right?
But, yeah, I don't know.
And we are watching, everybody, to see if there is an announcement that comes out.
We don't have anything.
As Koob was saying, what do you call it? Interrogation? The shakedown?
The hearing.
The hearing, right. The hearing has already happened. And look,
we don't know when they're going to announce it. Hopefully it's during the show. It might not be.
I mean, right now the Canucks are 5th in the Pacific Division. They're 5 points behind the Kings. If the Oilers stepped on their neck on Thursday and delivered a resounding victory, that would be almost as good as it can get. Sure. Would you like to see a physical play, maybe a little bit more chippy, maybe a fight off the hop, kind of get everybody going, and then say, okay, that's done. Now let's play some hockey and wheel you up and down the ice. That would be a bigger blow to the Canucks than anything you could do to them.
Conor Garland has 3 NHL fights. Eric Hollop, Brandon Tanev, and Jonathan Marchessault are his fights in the NHL. He has some in the minors, but that's what he has in the National Hockey League. All right. The River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. More of your texts, of course, and we'll get to some comments from and about John Klingberg. Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Suite. Get your tickets now at rivercreekresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Playmore tables and games.
Playmore tables and games. Make the most of your bad game. Oh, you want to, you need to, you know just what you've got to do. It's time to add some fun to your life. Make the most of your bad game. Playmore tables and games.
PlaymoreGames.ca.
Earlier today, Connor McDavid had a hearing with the NHL's Department of Player Safety in regards to his cross-check to the head of Vancouver's Conor Garland from Saturday night. No details on the league's response have been yet to be disclosed, and they're expected to come soon. Meanwhile, Derek Ryan has cleared waivers while John Klingberg had his first practice with the Oilers, having head coach Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg won't see any action for at least a week. And the NHL had two early games, seeing the Bruins double up the Sharks 6-3, while the Wild got past the Avs 3-1. Right now, Buffalo trails Seattle 4-3 early in the third before we see the Hurricanes match up against the Blackhawks, the Blues and Golden Knights dropping the puck, and the Hockey Club taking on the Jets. Down south, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are hiring former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. In basketball, 5 games wrapped up, including the Grizzlies getting past the Timberwolves by 2 points, the Suns losing to the Cavs at a score of 119-92, and the Knicks beating the Hawks 119-110. Right now, it's the Warriors down 42-25 to the Celtics, with 5 minutes to go in the second frame. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update. Hour 2 of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
Hope you're having a wonderful Monday. Warming up throughout the day. That's nice. Oilers Capitals tomorrow at Rogers Place. 7 o'clock game, 6 o'clock for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Email here from the Big Uke to read at edmontonsportstalk.com. It's his daily limerick. What a crazy weekend of hockey and football. Lying on McDavid, Garland had the gall. Congrats, Mr. Glue. Your team through round 2. Is Jeff Skinner in the doghouse or just lost at the mall? Skinner was with Henrique and Brown today. See what they do in the game tomorrow.
TBD, bro.
It certainly is. Maybe he gets to play first line center.
Yeah, maybe this is
you could actually have Skinner left wing, Nugent Hopkins center, Hyman right wing.
Oh, that would be a
if you
dream
didn't have
come
McDavid.
true.
And we don't think they're going to have McDavid. Though, again, no suspension has been announced.
But we're on it. If it does. Reed, I want to get
Well,
to
yeah,
some
we'll let
more.
you know because I'll get an email.
Is that like a humble brag that I won't get that same email, bro?
Well, won't you? Have you signed up?
I don't know. Tommy did something with me where we signed up to a thing, but I've never received an email from. Well, that's not true.
Also,
the NHL Stats sure likes to send me emails.
you can follow the NHL Department of Player Safety on Twitter as well. The DOPS. No? Don't want to?
Doesn't seem like the content I'm looking for. This comes in from Paul. As a referee, I've been ripped by supervisors for a lot less. I can't imagine this is not going to be at least a conversation with these two officials. Way too much deciding what is called and what's not. Call the book. It's that simple. There's a rule book. Apply it. What is the thought on this, Reid? Because you've heard it several times, I'm sure, is that you could call offensive holding on darn near every snap if you actually looked at the offensive line. Each play, you could call something. Is there some of that here where okay, if you want the book, we're going to call penalty. It'll be a penalty. Are they trying to, in their own way, allow the players to play through?
Okay, here's what I think. I think in general, if you don't care who wins a hockey game, you don't want 50-50 calls made. Don't call the ticky-tack stuff. Okay? I think that's what most fans want. Fans of a team think that their team is being wronged all the time and constantly and thoroughly. I think in that situation, Conor Garland was guilty of interference.
Okay, so that's what you would have called.
And the refs probably didn't want to call the first one because it's like, well, he kind of got in his way, but Conor's kind of battling per position as well. To me, it was when McDavid got up and Garland really wrapped himself around the hip. That should have been called. The arm should have gone up. Now, maybe at that point, Garland's still going to sit on him and just think, well, maybe we don't touch the puck and instead of a 6-on-5, it's a 5-on-4 with me lying on top of McDavid. Look, I actually think I would still say if you are a ref in the NHL, you are amongst the best in the world of that profession. I don't share your belief that all referees are idiots. Is that your belief?
Personal.
But idiot's a fair word?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't like refs.
You don't like refs. Okay, so I'll retract my statement. I'll say I don't share your distaste for all referees.
Okay.
I do think it's a difficult job, but it shouldn't be difficult when you see interference that blatant, Like it shouldn't. So that's what gets frustrating.
You would think, which makes me ask the question, why? Why was there nothing called there?
Because I think they're thinking late in the game, two guys battling, I got to give Garland some leeway to fight for space as well. I think that's what they're thinking. Instead of thinking like, oh, that's holding or that's interference. I think they're trying not to inject themselves into the game in their mind unnecessarily. But I would say certainly most Oilers fans would say, and probably a lot of neutral people would say, that's when it's necessary to inject yourself into the game, when a player's getting mugged in the high slot, whether it's Connor McDavid or, Cleon Daskalaskis, who was a goalie, by the way, so he wouldn't have been in that position.
What a name. Daskalaskis?
I'm pretty sure his name was Cleon Daskalaskis.
Wow,
or I don't know. Somebody will write it in. Oh, by the way, a lot of people put Johnny Paycheck in the in the nasty chat as he did take this job and shove it. But that's a fair question. Why did the refs not call a penalty? And sometimes, again, I don't sit there and think, oh, this team is getting screwed or they're out to get and calls are. And again, there are a lot of 50-50 calls. And if the refs are consistent throughout the evening, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to call that little hook unless you fine. I'm fine with that. But that wasn't a little hook. That was a guy trying to sit on another guy and totally remove him from the play. But again, you mentioned it earlier, from Garland's perspective, why not try it?
Yeah.
I mean,
looks like it worked.
What did Mac T and Messier say in Game 7 in 1994 when Vancouver had a face-off in the Rangers' end with like 1.4 seconds left? They said, just grab their sticks. We're not going to get a penalty. And if we do, the clock will run out and we win the Stanley Cup, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But it's hard for me to answer why wasn't that called. And I was listening to the morning show this morning, the Nielsen show, great show, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. And they were talking about, well, refs should have to do post-game. And I asked McDavid, or asked Bettman that question. It was before the pandemic. I had him in Studio 99, and I asked him about it, and he said he didn't basically he didn't think it would be helpful. And then he also said, not all refs have English as their first language, and I wouldn't want to put them in a situation where something gets lost in the translation, which was kind of a lame way to dodge it. But I'm also at the point where I don't think it would make fans of that team feel any better if a ref spoke. Because all the refs are going to say after the game on Saturday was like, well, I was watching the play and I didn't deem it to be a serious enough infraction. That's all they're going to say.
Well,
they're just going to say, and look, I'm going to say something here. I'm going to word this very carefully because I don't want to make a blanket statement across all officials in all sports. But it is my experience that referees in the NHL have no shortage of confidence, shall we say. And they pride themselves on lording over the game. What I say goes. I decided that night, that's the rule, everybody.
100%.
Right. I mean, why did Tim Peel get into all this trouble? And hey, I interviewed Tim a couple of times, and he was very, very approachable and very open. But why does he get into all this trouble, on Twitter and with fans and DMing Mark Spector and taking pictures of it, So you're not going to feel any better if refs do post-game interviews.
Yeah.
Side note.
You're not, because guess what? You don't get to interview them. Right? And the people that are interview them will conduct themselves professionally. And
right,
what you see here?
Well, right, because if I got to interview a ref, I would if fans would want me to say, "Why are you such an idiot?" Well, I wouldn't ask the question that way.
No,
you'd have to ask, "What did you see in the sequence What did you see between Garland and McDavid in the sequence that led up to the cross checks?"
And you know what they're going to say?
They're going to say, "I saw two guys battling for position.
There was a lot going on,
and it was close, but I didn't feel it crossed the line towards interference." That's exactly what they would say. I mean, we should do a bit where for the rest of the season, where after controversial calls the next day, nasties can pretend to ask me the questions as the ref, and I'll tell you what they would have said. Because I think, am I wrong? Is that not what they would have said? I was watching the play. I saw two guys battling for position. I saw both guys go to the ice, and I deemed it as part of the battle, and it didn't cross the line into interference for me. That's what they would say. They'd say that was part of a battle for ice.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to show them a clip of it live and say, well, no, this is actually what happened. It's not going to be as dramatic and as aha as you would like to think.
Right.
Collingwood Rob says, a no call can have just as much impact on a game as a penalty call. Clearly, this happened in the Vancouver game Saturday.
No, I agree. But what I was, and maybe he's not responding to what I was saying, but I was saying if they consistently leave the 50-50 stuff alone, I'm actually fine with that.
Sure. Yeah. Both ways. Like, would you call what happened at the end of the game 50-50? No, I wouldn't. But what happened earlier with Ekholm, broke his stick, and it was like that was not a cross check.
No. And quite frankly, McDavid got away with a high stick in the second period.
He did.
So stuff happens.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the problem I have with my general dislike for referees is that they like to put themselves and make themselves the boss of the game. No. You do it the way I want to do it. I know you're the better, you could be the best player in the NFL. Nope. Oh, sorry. Maybe not with Patrick Mahomes, but most other NFL players don't get the benefit of that doubt. Most NHL players don't get the benefit of the doubt. It's almost like there's a I don't know, because I saw that between McKinnon and McDavid last year, they combined for something like 97 total penalties drawn. Mm-hmm. This year, they're on pace for 47. What is that saying? I mean, in the NFL, they invented a damn rule to protect quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes gets breathed on while somebody's trying to tackle him, and that's a 15-minute or 15-yard penalty.
Well, see, you're opening up another whole angle to this discussion.
Well, protecting their star
players.
Right.
I think the NFL and maybe even the NBA has decided that if it's borderline aggressive, we're going to call it. Or if we're
not the NFL or not the NHL.
Not the NHL for the most part. But I have said this for years. I will continue to say it. If you watch a game in the NHL, whether it's Oilers or not, and you think the refs did a bad job, write their names down. And then at the end of the year, look at all the names you wrote down, see how many times you wrote down each name, and then look at the playoff assignments. And I another interview I did with Bettman this past year, I think he might have been there for the Cup final. He was there because he was joking about that I was making him miss Shania Twain because didn't she perform before Game 3? And I said, look, I'm not going to ask you specifically about the quality of the refereeing because I know you're going to say it's fine. But could you explain how refs are selected? And he's like, yes. He's like, if a ref isn't working this deep into the playoffs, he's not as good as other referees. So that's how fans can get their idea of what we think about their work.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, that is interesting to see it. Whether it happens or not, I'm not very sure.
Do you want to give me a couple more messages from Nasties? Of course, if you are texting 780-218-9999, you are using the River Cree inbox. River Cree Resort and Casino featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. Then we can do the Klingberg and Nuge stuff in the next segment.
This one comes in from Paulie. I wonder if this is Tom Gazzola's brother, Paulie. Maybe. Pretty hard to tell. No, he doesn't have kids. Pretty hard to tell my kids they should look up to McDavid and conduct themselves as he does after that dirty play. Did you think that was dirty, what Connor McDavid did to Conor Garland?
It's still dirty. It's still dirty. Cross-checking someone in the head is still dirty. Even though I said, to some extent, that's the natural... how things... It's still dirty. He's still going to get suspended for it. It's blatantly against the rules.
I think that's the natural progression / outcome of that situation.
Right. I don't know what I would tell. I think there'd be a certain age of child, probably into their teens, especially if they play hockey, that they would understand, okay, just because McDavid did it, I can't go around doing it whenever I want.
Yeah, no.
I don't know how you would explain that to a 6, 7, or 8-year-old. Maybe that'd be a tougher discussion. I'll never have to do it.
The league will get rid of... So funny you say that. The league will get rid of cross-checking once it forces the refs to actually call the rule book as it's written. You cannot tackle and lie on top of another player for an extended period of time. Garland got what he deserved. McDavid shouldn't be punishment for standing up for himself. Shouldn't be punished.
Well, he's still going to get punished. I mean, the thing is, the league can't say, oh, Garland should have got a penalty, so we're not going to suspend McDavid. Cross-checking someone in the head is a serious violation. End sentence. Agree or disagree?
Yep.
Okay.
But I will say this. There's some of those cross-checks that are warranted and okay. And assuming the outcome is not, an injury, then yeah, there is a time and place. I mean, one text came in and says, "What would Glue Guy have done in a football game if a guy was doing to him what Garland did to McDavid?" That's from Zeke on the Peak. I would take a number because football is not as fluid as hockey is.
Right.
I would take a number and, between the whistle, hopefully, do whatever I could. Take a pass interference penalty. That stuff, like that ticky-tacky stuff, does not happen as much in football because it's a different pace of game. There's I think, a more defined set of rules for football, whereas it's not as ticky-tacky.
Right.
But I've said this before, but I loved picking guys off, standing around a pile just as the whistle was about to blow. Whew. One of my favorite pastimes.
I'm not going to respond to this one message in the nasty chat, and keep giving us a thumbs up. By the way, we got a pretty good pace. I will not respond to this. I will just read it aloud, and then we'll go to break. Medano's Teeth says, if an angry elf was trying to hump me on the ice, I'd cross-check him as well. Zachary Kubish, take it away.
After receiving a match penalty in Saturday's game for cross-checking Canucks forward Conor Garland, Connor McDavid has faced the league for a hearing on his infraction, and details on the league's response have yet to be disclosed. Earlier today, John Kilngberg suited up for his first practice in Edmonton, with head coach Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg will not see any action for at least a week. Elsewhere, Derek Ryan has cleared waivers. And 2 games wrapped up in the NHL, having the Sharks drop a 6-3 decision to the Bruins, and Minnesota winning by 2 against Colorado. Live now, it's the Sabres down 5-3 versus the Kraken, with the Golden Knights and Blues just getting underway. After that, the Lightning and Maple Leafs drop the puck, and the Penguins go at it with the Kings on a 9-game NHL slate. In football, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are hiring former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. And with 5 games decided, there's 1 game live in the NBA, seeing the Celtics up 54-39 against the Warriors at halftime. Earlier, it was the Grizzlies etching out the Timberwolves 108-106. Knicks getting past the Hawks 119-110, and the Suns dropping a 118-92 decision against the Cavaliers. Later, we see the Jazz throw down with the Pelicans, and the Bulls go at it with the Clippers. This sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring, proudly serving Edmonton and area for over 30 years. Their showroom offers all the best and latest in flooring, tiles, and area rugs at the corner of 184th Street and 107th Ave. They're open 7 days a week. And tell them EST sent you for 10% off your next purchase. You can shop in-store or online at ParamountFlooring.ca. We have a quick timeout before the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne continues. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus, shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
The Canadian Ice House is taking your sports experience to a higher level. Trackman golf simulators are now open at the Ice House, an immersive and realistic golfing experience in the heart of downtown Edmonton. Visit in-store or at thecanadianicehouse.com for details.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
All right, thanks for joining us this afternoon. We got a limerick here sent to read at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. It's from William Mikespear. What do you call him, the poet laureate of the show? Connor cross-checked with frustration. DOPS wants an explanation. To Jay, Dustin was crying because your team beat my Lions. You are now back on probation. Well, I don't think you were ever off probation.
No, February 1st.
Oh, is that what it is now? That's soon.
What was it? Yeah.
So that's only a 5-month probation.
When did we start? September
3rd.
3rd. So it's
March then.
March. Yeah, that's
March
right.
1st you're off probation.
March 1st. We're going to
allegedly.
We're going to have a party in here.
We are going to have some Baja Rosa, everybody.
Baja
Flavor of
Rosa.
our choice.
What made you think of Baja
Well,
Rosa?
I was going to say something that wasn't like a conventional thing you would drink at work. And then I thought of saying Bailey's because there is a big bottle of Bailey's on Matthew Wannick's desk, and then I
Yes.
thought, what else could I say that's creamy?
Baja Rosa.
So I
was a
remember
cream liqueur.
Yeah, it was big in Lloydminster when I worked there.
It was blue or red.
Did they have strawberry?
That would be red.
What was the blue one?
Blueberry?
I don't even remember anything except the
Baja Rosa.
the strawberry
oh
one.
my gosh,
But-
that is a throwback.
Keep giving us the thumbs up if you're in the nasty chat on YouTube. We are one away from the word of the day, so you might as well do it, and then we'll keep going higher and higher. Word of the day has been very, very fun. Oilers against the Capitals tomorrow. John Klingberg will not play in the game. Let me know when you're ready with Clip Scoop. We're good to go? Almost. Okay, we'll get to him in a sec. Yeah, we're good? Okay. Well, I got to read this first anyway. It's the oil understood for GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around. From turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors, they are the critical engine component experts. Proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years, and now a proud partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel. Diesel. Understood. Okay. So Klingberg practiced. So the first question, obviously, hey, how are you feeling?
I feel incredible. I have way more motion, not any pain anymore, which is exciting. So no, I feel great, and I'm very happy to be here now.
How many years did you play with pain?
I mean, it's been there my entire career, but pain, like I'm not sure you can always deal with pain, but it's always been something that's been there, but being able to play through. But then over the last few years, it's been gradually getting worse and worse. And it came to a point last year where something happened during the game. I just felt that there's no way I'm going to be able to play another 80 games here. So that's when we decided to go down that road. And I'm happy I did. I feel so much better. I have so much more motion and no pain. So that's incredible.
Is this the first time you're hearing this, Avail, or did you hear it earlier?
No, this is.
Okay, so that was interesting to me, and I was at practice today, so I was in the scrum there. Interesting to me, and he referenced it a couple other times as well, but that's sort of the money clip right off the top, that he referenced that he's been in pain for a while.
Yeah. Yes. How long? How painful? I mean, was this something that was debilitating him longer than many would have known? Right? But by the sounds of it, it feels good, feels great. That one really caught me, though, I must say, because the way he says it, like, I'm finally pain-free. I mean,
and he has been skating with an OHL team for about a month, and he's not going to play for the Oilers immediately. We'll get to that as we move along as well. But some good perspective here from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on John Klingberg, because Nuge has seen him as an opponent for several years.
Always tough to play against, for sure. Nice when a guy like that joins you and you don't have to face him. I mean, from what I remember, just so shifty on the line, coming down at you too. So excited to see him. I assume the plan is tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, so it's obviously he's been a high-end player in this league for a long time now, so definitely excited.
Well, Nuge is not exactly sure. It's not his decision, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But here is what Chris Knobloch said about when Klingberg plays.
Yeah, we haven't got into that at all. We met him this morning. We talked about the system, so he's comfortable out on the ice. You know, obviously, he's got to feel comfortable, and he's been on the ice for a long period of time. And now we have to get comfortable with what we see. You know, it's difficult to just join in mid-season, but you think of the level of player that he is, that John will adapt quite quickly. But right now, we don't have an exact timeline of when exact gates. We've got an idea, but we don't want to say that that's going to be the day.
Days, weeks?
It'll be at least a week, and if not, definitely would like him playing games before we get to the break.
So at least a week. So that's next Monday, or I guess if you don't want to count, if you want to say the week starts tomorrow, then that next. So I guess he's not going to play this week. So the Oilers have a 6-game homestand, then they go away for 2, then they have one more home game on Friday the 7th, then they have the break. Klingberg wants to play before that break. Knobloch would like him to play before that break. So I guess we see him maximum 6 times.
Well, there's an interesting matchup on Saturday, February 1st in Edmonton.
The Maple Leafs.
Might
He
be
wasn't
eyeing
a Leaf
that.
for very long, but there will be a little bit of a hype around that one for sure.
I don't know. I mean, if Klingberg is in shape, then, I know he said there that, we got to get comfortable with the system.
Right.
What's the system?
Well, just knowing the little subtleties that how they break the puck out, how
Breakouts
they cover, all that kind of stuff.
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, is the system it can't be that drastically different from team to team.
No,
I mean, this is a
hockey's
professional hockey player.
Let's get the puck up the ice.
Yeah. Like, get it out and go put it in that net. I know there's more to it than that. But a week was kind of, were you surprised by that?
I don't know, because I kind of went in without any expectations. I know that's a boring answer, but a lot of times when I'm going to cover something that I don't know the outcome of, I just kind of accept that they're going to tell me. I didn't think he would be in tomorrow. I thought that would be a rush. So I mean, if I would have guessed, I would have said, well, maybe Saturday against the Sabres, but it doesn't sound like that's going to happen. I found it interesting listening to Rashog with Dustin and Lieutenant Eric this morning, because a big discussion on this show and with most Oilers fans, whether he was on a show or not, was, well, even if Klingberg does well, is that what the Oilers need? But Rashog also said, well, maybe they're leaning into the fact that if they get the puck out of their own end, like, they already lead the league in offensive zone time. So why not have somebody else that can do that? Why not have somebody on the ice with Nurse or Kulak who can do all the looping around and playmaking that Bouchard and Ekholm often participate in?
There is a case for that, sure, but I still think they're lacking the depth at that defensive defenseman. Like, who is their number one defensive defenseman? Kulak or Nurse? I guess
I'd say Ekholm or Nurse.
Well, Ekholm,
for pure
sorry,
defense,
Ekholm or Nurse. Sorry. Yeah. You could use another, and I mean, Ekholm as a defensive defenseman is able to contribute offensively. Obviously, Nurse is as well. There's not. I mean, I think are there any true defense-only minded defenders in the NHL left that can't do anything offensively?
Well, yes. I mean, Emerson does. There are guys that don't do much offensively,
but
but the puck skills have improved a lot over the years.
But that's what I'm saying.
Guys.
You're not looking for just a defensive. I play defense. Me play D. You're going to want somebody that can chip in offensively as well. Now, we have not seen anything from Klingberg. And by all accounts, defense was not a big part of his game. Now, this is a player who has not skated for a while, who's matured quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's more of a part of the game. You really can't say much until he is in game action. Right?
Right. And that's a fair comment for sure. Here's Chris Knobloch on why he's confident that Klingberg's going to fit in.
The fact that he'd been skating as long as he had, and the reports on his injury, and and his experience, his playing level that he's used to, and obviously that pulled him back. The hips were bothering him for quite some time. He wanted to get those addressed. He wanted to make sure that he was ready to play and not rush it. And he probably could have been ready to play in the a training camp, for an NHL training camp, but he wanted to make sure he was ready and have a good year and making sure that his body's 100% so he can just make a good impression to help himself in the future. So I liked everything that I heard about that, and I think anytime you can add a defenseman of that caliber, that it was absolutely no-brainer for us. We wanted to take that chance, and I'm very I believe it's going to be a very good investment for our team.
All right, so that's the head coach, Chris Knobloch. Again, at least a week until we see Klingberg in game action. And that was another little tidbit that I found notable, that he maybe could have gone to a training camp and said, okay, I'm ready for this, but he truly wouldn't have been ready, and that he's taken the time to feel really, really good. I'm still in show me mode. I mean, again, when a player hasn't played a game for 14 months, you'd think there's going to be an adjustment getting back into it. Klingberg was asked why he chose the Edmonton Oilers as a free agent.
Well, obviously, you just look up and down the lineup and see what kind of team they have, and also how good they were last year. There's been some mutual interest there before as well, but came to a point now where I felt like I had really good talks with Stan and Chris and Paul as well, and just seeing how they play and how I can fit in the team, and obviously build on that. I think it could be a good fit.
All right, so that's why Klingberg is interested in playing for the Edmonton Oilers, as we are in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm. The heavy hitters of injury law with over 200 years of experience. James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them at jameshbrown.com today and book your private consultation. One more clip here to round out the Klingberg story, sort of along the lines of what Jay and I were just talking about. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins commenting on how Klingberg fits into their system.
With our system, the way that our mentality too, I think you can kind of stick anybody with an offensive upside, and they can adapt pretty quick to our defensive style of play. And obviously, he's a smart player and an older player now, so he gets it. And I don't think he'll be making any crazy dangerous plays out there. And I think he'll be able to read it and understand our mentality pretty quick.
All right. So Nuge kind of emphasizing, hey, we're not trying to incorporate a 21-year-old with 0 games of experience.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I mean, when we listen to this stuff too, there's always what they say, and then there's sort of how they're saying it. Like Nuge to me sound genuinely, maybe excited is an overstatement, but he's like, the compliments seemed very genuine and the tone of voice seemed very much like, okay, I'm not just saying this because he's now a teammate. That's the impression I got from Nuge, who's become a pretty good soundbite over the years, by the way.
Well, he'd have a lot of respect for him. He's been in the league a long time. He's been a good defenseman. He's a hell of a player. I don't know what else you want me to,
Yeah,
just because just because he's fallen off from that. Battled some injury, took time away from the game. I mean, I don't know. I'm more to saying, let's give him the benefit of the doubt and see how he fits in and how he stacks up. One note here, Reid. We might have to start calling the Oilers Sweden West, right? I mean, there's 4 Swedish players now.
What do we got?
Ekholm, Janmark, Arvidsson, and Klingberg.
Are we missing anybody? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a fifth of the roster if they're all dressed.
Sweden West.
Well, I guess Janmark and Klingberg are buddies. I saw somebody posting all these pictures of them together doing stuff in the off season or somewhere in the mountains or something like that. So yeah, that's cool. All right. We do not have anything official on McDavid yet. We're checking our email and checking X for the stuff from the Department of Player Safety. Someone was joking in the nasty chat. I've seen everything from a fine to being kicked out of the league on X. Well, yeah, we'll see. Are we at 150 for the thumbs?
Well, we've eclipsed one. I didn't do a round of applause for 130, but we're well on our way. Let's get
up to 150, then I'll get a double word of the day a little bit later on, which will be fun. Coob, we'll save that other Nugent-Hopkins clip for later on in the show, maybe. We got fired up. We got crunching the numbers. Jason Moss is going to join us, head coach of the Montreal Alouettes. It's the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne.
Earlier today, Connor McDavid had a hearing with the NHL's Department of Player Safety in regards to his cross-check to the head of Vancouver's Conor Garland from Saturday night, with details on the league's response expected to come soon. Meanwhile, Derek Ryan has cleared waivers while John Kilngberg had his first practice for the Oilers, having head coach Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg won't see any action for at least a week. And the NHL had 3 early games, seeing the Bruins double up the Sharks 6-3, while the Wild got past the Avs 3-1, and the Kraken just recently held down the Sabres 6-4. Right now, the Blues are up 1-0, having just about 5 minutes in their game against the Golden Knights before we see the Hurricanes match up with the Blackhawks. Blue Jackets meeting the Islanders before the Hockey Club take on the Jets. Down south, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are hiring former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. In basketball, 5 games wrapped up, including the Grizzlies getting past the Timberwolves by 2 points, the Suns losing to the Cavs at a score of 118-192, and the Knicks beating the Hawks 119-110. Live now, the Warriors trails 67-44 to the Celtics before the Clippers host the Bulls, and Utah visits New Orleans. This sports update is brought to you by Find Edmonton. Find takes your unused furniture and home goods to help those moving out of homelessness. Get donations picked up or drop them off free of charge. Find out how you can make an impact at findedmonton.com or call them at 780-988-1717. That's 780-988-1717. We have a quick break before the Reid Wilkins Show returns here on EST. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're in the loop.
If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to jameshbrown.com.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Tommy Gunn's Barbershop is more than just a barbershop. It's a top-notch, tailor-made experience from check-in to check-out. Get a precision haircut, a classic shave, or a facial to step up your style. Just walk in, relax, and let Tommy Gunn's take it from there. Find comfort in knowing their team follows the code, which is their commitment to care for you as a customer. Check out Tommy Gunn's today, in-store or online at TommyGuns.com to bring out the best in you. Tommy Guns, where every cut is done right every time.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
All right, well, the announcement coming down while we went to break that Connor McDavid gets a 3-game suspension for cross-checking. The Canucks' Tyler Myers also gets a 3-game suspension for cross-checking. So that is crunching the numbers for Gallo LLP, chartered professional accountants, where they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John at Gallo LLP if you'd like to discuss further how they can crunch your numbers and help your business grow. Visit their website, GalloLLP.ca, and see how Gallo LLP can help your business grow. All right, so there's your headline, crunching the numbers. It's a 3-game suspension for Connor McDavid. I have to be honest with you, Jay, I thought it was going to be 2. I thought Myers would either get 2 or 3. Maybe they would decide to give him a little bit more because, again, I did think that was a little bit more of a dirtier play given that the game had already ended and there kind of wasn't that battle going on in front of the net that he cross-checked Bouchard, who Granted, maybe I hear people, maybe Boosh should have been ready or not taking his mouth guard out, but whatever. So Jay and I are hearing this and seeing this for the first time as well. We're going to play it for you. Is it ready, Coop? Thanks for doing this on the fly. Here is, we'll just play the whole video. Why not? It's a couple minutes long. Here's the McDavid suspension video put out by the NHL Department of Player Safety.
Saturday night in Vancouver, Oilers forward Connor McDavid was assessed a match penalty for cross-checking Canucks forward Conor Garland. As the video shows, Garland and McDavid collide at the top of the circles with time winding down. The two remain tied up, with Garland restraining McDavid on the ice and McDavid responding with a gloved punch at Garland. McDavid gets free of Garland in the slot. Then, with the puck at the half wall, McDavid turns to face Garland, approaches him, draws back his stick with both hands, and intentionally strikes Garland in the head with force. This is cross-checking. It is important to note that this is not a routine motion to box out an opponent or to gain body position. Having just been involved physically with Garland, McDavid retaliates aggressively and intentionally, escalating the altercation by raising his stick significantly and creating this contact, a high cross-check that makes direct contact with an opponent's head with sufficient force to merit supplemental discipline. To summarize, this is cross-checking. McDavid has been suspended once and fined once during his 688-game NHL career. The Department of Player Safety has suspended Connor McDavid for 3 games.
All right, and yeah, if you're on YouTube, sorry we had a little bit of flickering with the video, but we wanted to get it to you as quickly as possible. You could certainly hear it. So the key phrases I wrote down, Jay, not quite word for word because I was scribbling, but in that video, the NHL Department of Player Safety saying it's not a routine motion to battle for position, which is kind of what I talked about with cross-checking earlier. And then they said McDavid reacts aggressive and intentionally to escalate the, what do they call it? The encounter?
Yeah.
Escalate the situation. Yeah, so that's the reasoning. And McDavid was suspended when I didn't write down the year. I think it was 18-19 for a hit to the head against the New York Islanders, which was a standard 2-game suspension. They do take that into account somewhat. So that it's 3 games. I'm surprised it's 3 games. Like a little bit. I thought it would probably be 2. They kind of rarely do 1. Like if you're going to suspend somebody, you might as well make it worth the while, so to speak. So a 3-game suspension for McDavid. What do you think?
Okay, 3 for McDavid. Okay, 3 for Myers as well.
Yeah,
I don't know that those are equal plays. I don't know what Tyler Myers did was after the whistle, a player unprepared coming towards him slams his stick into his face. McDavid, through a battle, which should have been a penalty, we can all agree on that, gets up and cross-checks Conor Garland in the side of the head.
Right.
These are 2 totally different incidences, but yet they're warranting the same response.
Coop, if I send you the Myers video, could we just play the audio? Yeah. Let's do that. I'm going to send him, because the video flickered a little bit there on YouTube, but I think most fans would know what we're talking about and can see it in their mind's eye. Yeah, 3 games to me is pretty solid. Is it consistent with every other suspension? I don't know. It's going to cost McDavid $195,000 worth of salary, which goes to the Players' Emergency Assistance Fund. That's 3 games worth. All right, so maybe let me know when the Myers audio is ready to go. Oh, we got it all right. Okay, so here's the NHL announcing the Tyler Myers suspension, also 3 games.
Saturday night in Vancouver, Canucks defenseman Tyler Myers was assessed a match penalty for cross-checking Oilers defenseman Evan Bouchard. As the video shows, Myers finishes a check on Bouchard as the whistle blows to stop play. The two then exchange light slashes, for which they were both penalized. Bouchard approaches Myers with one hand on his stick. As he does, Myers raises his stick with two hands, draws it back, and delivers a blow that hits Bouchard directly in the face. This is cross-checking. It is important to note that this is not a case of a stick that is directed toward the body that rides up the opponent. This cross-check is delivered cleanly to the head of Bouchard. And while we have heard Myers' assertion that he does not intend to strike Bouchard in this manner, players are responsible for their stick at all times. This is an intentional cross-check by Myers, who raises his stick significantly to initiate this contact, a high cross-check that makes direct contact with an opponent's head with sufficient force to merit supplemental discipline. To summarize, this is cross-checking. Myers has been suspended twice and fined twice during his 1,040-game NHL career. The Department of Player Safety has suspended Tyler Myers for 3 games.
All right, so both McDavid and Myers get 3-game suspensions for cross-checking, so neither guy is going to be in the game on Thursday at Rogers Place. McDavid will miss the front half of the Oilers' 6-game homestand. He won't be in the lineup against Ovechkin tomorrow, which I think we thought was going to be the case no matter what. Side note, are those videos even helpful? Do you learn anything from them? I feel like very rarely.
This is cross-checking.
They just re-describe the play. It would be fun. It would be informative if they said, here's a cross-check we suspended 4 games last year, and here's one we suspended 2 games earlier this year, and here's why we think this one falls in between. Of course, they're never going to do that. So basically, they said that McDavid was guilty of doing something that was not a routine motion in fighting for position in hockey, and that his cross-check was aggressive and intentional and escalated the encounter. They said that Myers made a clean shot to the head, that it didn't ride up, it was straight to the head, and that it was also intentional. So for the NHL Department of Player Safety, they both add up to 3 games.
Is this the first time McDavid's been suspended?
No, he was suspended. I double-checked the day.
Once before.
Yes, 2 games in February 2019 for an illegal check to head against the New York Islanders. And a check to the head is an automatic 2-game suspension. So
okay, but it's almost like they made, because... Well...
So this is Myers' 3rd suspension, and McDavid's 2nd?
So, but I guess, I don't know. How can those even be the same? This is his 3rd suspension, 3rd fine, or fine twice for Myers.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised they're the same. If you would have told... Okay, I didn't think McDavid was getting fewer than 2 games. Less than 2 games. Which is it? Less than 2 games. I thought he was going to get 2. I thought Myers would get 2 or 3. So, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised they're the same. I'm a little bit surprised.
Should you be surprised? Okay.
Well,
here's the thing. What can we just say? Should you be surprised with anything that comes out of this league?
What did I write on Saturday night when I tweeted after the game? I said I would guess McDavid and Myers will both be suspended for late-game cross-checks, but Department of Player Safety has fooled me before.
Right?
I really would have been fooled if neither guy was suspended, because they are suspendable actions.
That's not the point here. That ship has sailed. Suspendable actions, but for both of these players to get the same suspension, right? When Austin Matthews had the exact same thing that resulted in a 2-game suspension.
He got a 2-game suspension. I mean, to me, they're almost saying Myers targets the head, whereas... Well, I guess they're also saying McDavid targets head, but Myers had a lot easier time to hit a part of the head that isn't covered, right? Because Bouchard's facing him and he can drill him in the chops. McDavid is going up high. There's no doubt McDavid wants to go up high, right? But Garland's turned at the time. I'm splitting hairs here, and I'm not trying to defend what McDavid did, because it is a serious violation of the rules. But from the way they described them, were they jumping through hoops to make them sound like they're the same level of discipline?
I'd have to re-listen to it with intent on listening for that. I thought they made Myers sound a lot worse, which, in my opinion, it is.
Right.
It's not even in the heat of a battle. Like, Bouchard was coming over. I mean, they played that clip on the morning show. What was Bouchard going to say to him?
What was Bouchard going to say? Yeah.
I thought he was going to say Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, you're right. And that's why in my mind, and I'm not saying either one is appropriate. They are violations of the rules. And I don't think even the most staunch Oilers fan is saying, well, McDavid should get nothing. But McDavid does his, in a battle against a guy who's kind of moving and is getting up and maybe getting out of the way, and he goes after him. Myers is standing there and thinking, okay, fine, I'm just going to drill you. And you're not going to be able to get out of the way. I'm going to pop you right in the nose and or mouth. I mean, to me, that one is more dangerous. Now, they're both dangerous. Don't get me wrong. To me, the Myers one was more dangerous. And they're both intent to injure, but the Myers one would have been more likely to cause injury.
And the Myers one was without much, what did Bouchard? They said that they both went into the boards and they finished a check, right? And then that was at the final whistle, and at the end, this was unprovoked. Whereas you could at least make a case for what McDavid did. I mean, fines aside or suspension aside, I don't think any Oilers fan could say that they did. This is a complete outcry. I think the confusion is that once again, Reid, this word consistency from this great league that everybody cherishes and holds up on a pedestal is the most inconsistent league I've ever seen in my life. I mean that. From the refereeing to the Department of Player Safety, nothing seems to come easy to this process. Now, obviously, we're in the market at which is the center of this discussion point right now.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that there's not a consistency issue here.
No, there is big time. There is big time. And this isn't the first time I've been either outright confused or slightly befuddled by the length of a suspension. I just would have thought, if you would have told me Myers got 3 games, I would have said then McDavid got 2.
Right.
If you would have told me McDavid got 3, I might have said, holy crap, then
5.
They gave Myers 5.
Yes.
I really thought it would be 2 for both, or 2 for McDavid and 3 for Myers.
Ooh, boy.
But again, does it matter? I mean, they should be suspended.
That's the question to ask here. Does it really matter at the end of the day? I think this is just the boiling point, though, for a lot of fans to say, what is this? What is, we spent the better part of not the better part, but a couple segments of our show talking about why wasn't this handled by the officials on the ice before it got to this point?
Yes, and that's
now this has led to this, and now there's even more questions to be asked.
Yeah.
But will the NHL Department of Player Safety make themselves available to the media to answer? Okay, why
they have? I don't know if they will do anything though. I remember once an Oiler got suspended. This was even before I was doing Inside Sports. Dan was doing Inside Sports, and it might have been Shanahan still went on Inside Sports with Dan, but they specifically said we are only doing it because you are the rights holder broadcaster for the team in that market. We won't do multiple interviews. Right. And then I think we've asked other times over the years and they just say no. But they're just going to say we put out a video. They're just going to say we put out a video explaining it.
We explained it.
Portions of this hour presented by Canadian Brew House, the Canadian Ice House, taking your sports experience to a higher level of ultra cool. TrackMan Golf Simulators now open at the Ice House, an immersive and realistic golfing experience in the heart of downtown Edmonton. Visit thecanadianicehouse.com. We are going to get fired up. We assume that you will as well, as McDavid gets a 3-game suspension. It's the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com GCLDiesel.com.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Connor McDavid has received a 3-game suspension from the NHL Department of Player Safety for his cross-check on Canucks forward Conor Garland from Saturday night. And during the same instance, Tyler Myers delivered a cross-check to the mouth of Evan Bouchard, which sees Myers getting 3 games as well. McDavid will lose just under $200,000 for the suspension, seeing his next game on the 27th against Seattle. And 3 games wrapped up in the NHL today, having the Sharks drop a 6-3 decision to the Bruins, and Minnesota winning by 2 against Colorado, as the Sabres lost 6-4 to the Kraken. Right now, the Golden Knights are down 2-1 in their game with the Blues at the end of 20. And after that, the Lightning and Maple Leafs drop the puck as the Penguins go at it with the Kings. In football, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are hiring former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. In the NBA, just one game live right now. Halfway into the fourth quarter, it's the Celtics up 107-68 on the Warriors. Earlier, we saw the Cavs overtake the Suns 118-92. The Timberwolves dropping a close one, 108-106 to the Grizzlies, and the Pistons losing 107-96 against the Rockets. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update. The final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
All right, we want to hear from you. McDavid suspended for 3 games. Tyler Myers also suspended for 3 games. McDavid cross-checking Garland and Myers cross-checking Bouchard on Saturday night, so they both get 3 games. Let us know how you're feeling on the text line, the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. River Cree Resort and Casino, home of Tap 25 restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. You can also email Reid at edmontonsportstalk.com, and a lot of discussion in the nasty chat, mostly with each other, which is fine. If you are there, though, continue to give us the thumbs up. Let's see if we can make a push here for 200 in the final hour of the show.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Shouldn't
Reid.
be a problem. Everybody just click it right now. And,
Angry
we'll
clicking.
Angry clicking.
thumbing, yeah.
Click the thumbs up. Give us your positive energy. Channel your negativity towards the NHL Department Player of Safety into a positive reaction for us, and then everybody's happy. So, on that note, we are going to let you get fired up for Gemco. Gemco Fireplaces, proudly serving Edmonton and area for 45 years, the authorized dealer for Napoleon fireplaces. Whether it's gas or wood burning, look no further than Canadian-made Napoleon fireplaces. All the Napoleon products you need are available at Gemco, 9281 50th Street. All right. Wow, there's a lot on the we can't read everything on air, but now people are predicting how the Oilers are going to do over their 6-game homestand. Does this mean more ice time for Jeff Skinner? Maybe.
Well,
Maybe.
this is why you got to discuss it.
This is why we discuss it. But do you have stuff coming in
I do.
first?
There's been
I'll
a
let
lot
you
of
take it away here.
A lot of response to this suspension coming in on the River Cree inbox 780-218-9999. Nolan from St. Albert. 3 games for McDavid is a joke. Does Wes McCauley get any punishment for letting it escalate to that point? No. Of course he doesn't. Absolute joke. Vic says there will be an appeal. I don't know about that. Or are you just going to accept it?
Okay.
I mean,
if they appeal, you get 1 game shaved off maximum.
Jeffy says, just like the Golden Knights playoff series, they take the coward's way out and suspend both equally, despite the infractions not being remotely close to the same.
That's a good point, actually. I mean, what Pietrangelo did was worse than Nurse going in to fight a guy. And I know the Nurse situation is supposed to be an automatic suspension for getting instigator in the final minute of a game. But Pietrangelo, like, talk about intent to injure. Pietrangelo was fine with breaking Draisaitl's arm if that was the outcome of that slash. That wasn't a tap.
Matt says, hey guys, I agree. I think Myers' play was worse, but I think that's a problem. We are comparing the incidents off each other instead of looking at them in isolation. That's probably what the league is doing.
Yes, I do. Yeah, good point. The league is looking at them in isolation. They're not looking at one or the other and saying which one's worse and we have to suspend it more. But I would think the Myers one would be seen at worse, again, because it's sort of after the play. The McDavid's is dirty and unnecessary, sure, but it's more in the process of that battle.
The heat of the battle.
Right.
Yes.
Whereas Myers is like, I'm going to cross-check the least threatening guy in the NHL in the face. I don't know if they would factor Bouchard's demeanor into it, but...
hey, how you doing? Wow!
Yeah, is the game over, Tyler? Whoa!
You want to go play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
T-Rev says, I thought McDavid would get 2 games. How big an opportunity is this for Jay Skins? He needs to absolutely take advantage of his chance to be an offensive impact with McDavid out. Thank you, T-Rev. I think that's an interesting point.
So what are the lines tomorrow if you're the coach?
Wow. Let's do it. Well,
do you have to... Okay, does Nuge play center?
I think you got to
probably
put Nuge back up. Yeah. Then who would be on the wing?
Could Nuge, Hyman... You know what he's going to do? You know what I think he's going to do? He's going to put Kapanen with Nuge and Hyman.
On the top line?
No, the top line will be Draisaitl, Podkolzin, and Arvidsson.
Okay, so he's going to elevate that. Nuge, Hyman, and Kapanen.
Then Jay Skinner will be with Henrique and Brown. I bet you that's why Jay Skinner was there today. And then Janmark, Philp, and Perry is a line. Is that what he's going to... Just off the top of my head, is he going to elevate... Because Kapanen was elevated before briefly, remember? Didn't he go up there when Hyman missed a game or two? I think I got the timing right. I wonder if that's what he does. So it's an opportunity for Jeff Skinner to play, but not necessarily play with Draisaitl or Nugent Hopkins now.
Well, that's because they don't like him, Reid.
Well, maybe.
He's not the teacher's pet, some would say. They keep coming in to the River Cree inbox. Taco says, if the tables were turned and someone did the same thing to McDavid, we would want a severe punishment. I think the suspension is fair. Also, do you think McDavid's chicken wing from the earlier in the week played a role to some extent? I mean, it is the second time they have had to discuss McDavid in the last few days.
No, he didn't get a hearing for the chicken wing.
It was discussed throughout the ether.
Well, they probably decided, do we need to look at this? And
they would have known about it.
No, yeah,
right. But
his point, personally, I don't think that factored in. And yes, if McDavid got cross-checked in the head, we would want a suspension. But me personally, I've never claimed McDavid shouldn't be suspended for that. So I don't really know what his point is. I mean, most Oilers fans are saying that he should have been suspended and that Myers should have been suspended. So I don't really get that.
And it is more so to do with the fact that these are the same term.
That's really what we're debating now. Are they both 3-game suspensions?
McDavid suspended, so there you go. Now, this makes Thursday's game very, very exciting, as if it wasn't enough already. I mean, we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
Is this something that there's gonna be extra motivation for both teams, right?
Well, the Canucks are going to be excited to play a game not against Connor McDavid.
Well, yeah.
As will Washington and as will Buffalo, quite frankly.
Yes.
Even though the Oilers still have Draisaitl.
So to be clear, the first game back for Connor McDavid will be a week from today when the Kraken roll into Edmonton.
Yes. And maybe that's the Klingberg debut, too. That could be quite a night.
Could be.
Yeah, there's a lot of good discussion, but I can't even keep up with all the messages coming in. Where did I see it now?
This one, very similar to text we've received before on the River Cree inbox. This comes in from Mac Lemec. The McDavid suspension rests squarely on the shoulders of the refs. A holding call against Garland, as it was happening, would have changed the course of McDavid's actions.
Yes.
But look where we are now.
But again, the fact that Garland didn't get a penalty doesn't justify what McDavid did if you're the Department of Player Safety.
It can't.
He did something you shouldn't do.
It can't, because you can't take that in.
Right, you can't just say, hey, guys, you can't send the message, whenever you feel like a ref misses a penalty on you, go do what you want. We won't suspend you for a very long time. Like, they can't do that. Well, they could, but that would be also wrong.
Do you think this is a natural, I guess, progression to timelines overall in terms of suspension timelines, in terms of, where this was a two-game penalty or 2-game suspension all but 2 years ago? Now is this the new bar? This is now three games.
This is the thing. The Matthews one a couple of years ago, to me, is very similar, if not even more aggressive than what McDavid did, because McDavid kind of had Dahlin not moving. Like McDavid was taking a shove at Garland, who was kind of in motion at the time.
Yeah.
So, again, it's the consistency thing. And, if they're going on past experience or past crimes, well, McDavid's been suspended once, and as they said in the video, Myers has been suspended twice before. So it still kind of doesn't add up to me.
But it sure does add a lot of intensity to the game on Thursday.
Well, Garland's going to be popular. Again, will the Oilers go out there and seek to do something? Well, they can't do anything to Myers.
Do you think they will? Do you think there will be retribution in the thoughts and game plan for the Oilers?
Just play aggressive. Just hit guys. But here's the thing. If someone tries to fight Conor Garland, unless it's someone around his size, well, he does have 3 fights. Okay, well, Josh Brown has to do something. Conor Garland's not going to fight Josh Brown. Would you? If you were Conor Garland?
Probably not.
Right. And Conor Garland's probably also saying, hey, by the way, guys, I didn't do anything suspension worthy. I maybe got away with a 2-minute interference penalty. Why do I have to fight for that? Myers would be the one who might have to fight. Or quite frankly, McDavid would be. Those are the guys that did the extreme crime, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can go after Conor Garland. Maybe you could say, hey, I want to fight you. And he's going to say, sorry, I do other things on this team. He'd be like, I didn't cross-check McDavid in the head. I didn't chicken wing Connor McDavid. Why do I have to go and answer for this?
This one's interesting as it is relevant to the term of suspension here. Duffman says, I have no issue with a suspension, but an issue I have regarding length of suspension is consistency. Soucy only got 1 game for a similar infraction in the playoffs for his cross-check on McDavid.
They suspend less in the playoffs. They do not give suspensions of equal length in the playoffs. That's simple.
And that's been the way it is for quite a long time. What's 3 in the regular season is 1?
Yeah, 2 or yeah, exactly. So that's not, yeah.
We are already getting into Garland hate speech.
Oh my goodness.
I shouldn't say hate speech, but guys, let's not forget that if Garland was just a foot taller, McDavid would have hit Garland in the arm / shoulder, and never would have this led to a suspension.
Yeah,
this is the real contributing factor
but
from the Wolf.
And part of the reason McDavid got hit in the head last year in the playoffs is because he also got cross-checked from behind,
right,
and was going to the ice, and Soucy drilled him in the head. Both of those were quite dirty, I thought. So, yeah, it's and right, as someone reminded me, Josh Brown was sent back down to the minors anyway, so he won't even be in that game unless they call him up. Derek Ryan did clear waivers too earlier today. Coop's been saying that in the sports updates. I mean, look, it's a big discussion point because it's around McDavid. He's the star player. He's the marquee player in the league. It's a story that he did something quite aggressive. It's a story that he gets suspended for any length of time. He's going to be missed in the Oilers lineup. Certainly missed more. By the way, I thought one of the great play in the game on Tuesday was when Myers had the puck on a shorthanded 2-on-1 in the second period, and he dumped it into the corner. Should be suspended for that.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah. So 3 games for Myers, 3 games for McDavid. Look, I think it should have been 2 for McDavid because they're not, a 1-game suspension is that really? That's 1 game.
Yeah.
2 games makes a little more impact on the team. I do think what Myers did was worse, again, because he's striking at a stationary guy, not in the heat of battling for position or reacting to a battle or anything like that. And he, if you're talking about the outcome of the hit, well, McDavid kind of got a glancing blow on the side of the helmet. Myers got Bouchard straight in the chops. That's why I think Myers should have been more. Double? No. A game more? Probably yes.
Yeah, that's the point of contention.
To me,
here.
too, if you would have, again, like I said, if you would have told me Myers got 3 games, I would have said, well, McDavid got 2. I would have been wrong.
Do you think this lends itself to the what Rob the Plumber says? Just shows how the NFL doesn't protect its stars. See, here's the thing about that is that what was happening before was not necessarily intent to injure, or didn't have the likelihood of probability of injuring Connor McDavid or Conor Garland.
And that's the thing here. McDavid actually was not the quote-unquote victim of a dirty play. He was the victim of holding / interference.
And the lack of running the game.
Right.
The way that certainly most fans would like to see, and that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
But it did, and now this did, and I mean, Connor's to blame. Connor did that.
Yes.
Now, here's a question I have for you, Reid. Is over this 3-game span, as we said earlier, I bet you Connor was getting more ass slaps on the way back to the locker room after that than ever, He's the star. He's usually the one that saves them. Now it's up to the rest of the team to try and, uphold this wicked streak they've been on of late. Is that extra motivation, do you think, for the rest of that locker room to now step up?
Well, I would hope so. And they've played without him before. I mean, what did he miss? He missed 2 or 3 games earlier this season.
I mean, this is for different.
So,
this is different.
This is
different. You saw your own star player, the captain of your team, have to go and defend himself.
Right. Yeah,
and he did.
I would hope they're highly motivated regardless. But yeah, I maybe they're saying, all right, McDavid got frustrated and stood up for himself. Let's make sure we make these games count. And they can win without him. They got a pretty good team. They play, when they're on their game, and if they actually start playing well in the first period, then yeah, they can still win without him. It's going to be a spirited night against the Canucks. There's always a lot of Canucks fans there. So there'll be a lot of heat around that game. James says using illegal tactics to win is definitely dirty, Reid. Yeah, but I'm not. Okay, there's difference between a holding penalty and a cross-check to the head. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's it's not the same.
Jimmy Onishi, McDavid should be suspended for the Four Nations face-off instead.
That's a great idea. I would like to see that.
I think most fans would take that.
Keep giving us the thumbs up on YouTube. Let's make a push to 200 in the final 40 minutes of the show. as we are in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law with over 200 years of experience. James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. JamesHBrown.com. Book your private consultation today. Here comes the Coop.
The NHL has given Connor McDavid a 3-game suspension after he delivered a blow to the head of Conor Garland Saturday night. And McDavid will miss tomorrow's game against the Caps, the Canucks rematch on Thursday, as well as the Sabres game on Saturday before returning to action against the Kraken on the 27th. And Myers also received a 3-game suspension from that same game where he cross-checked the face of Evan Bouchard. And also for the Oilers, John Klingberg had his first practice with the team today, with Chris Knobloch saying he won't slot in for at least a week, while Derek Ryan has cleared waivers. And the NHL had 3 early games, including a Wild, getting past the Avs 3-1. And right now, the Blues are leading by that same score midway through their game against the Golden Knights. After that, we see the Hurricanes match up with the Blackhawks. Blue Jackets meet the Islanders, and puck drop between the Hockey Club and the Jets. Down south, Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach. In other news, the Colts are hiring former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, according to both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport on Twitter. In basketball, the Celtics just stomped the Warriors 125-85 before New Orleans hosts Utah, and the Bulls and Clippers tip off. This sports update is brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. Get treated like a pro with their highly skilled crew. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance your performance, Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy uses the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game. Find them online at AdvantageSportMed.ca. We return after a quick break here on The Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. Plus, you can win game tickets and a surf and turf dinner for 2 at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Okay, before we get to more of your texts, let's do our game of the night, presented by the great people at Playmore Tables and Games. From ping pong and pool tables to darts and dome hockey, plus all the classic arcade action you could ask for, visit Canada's game room experts Locations in Edmonton or Calgary or online at playmoregames.ca. There have already been some NHL games this afternoon. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the United States. Blues and Golden Knights are playing right now. 3-2 Blues halfway through the second period. So that's a game of the night for me because the Oilers and Golden Knights are tied for first. And then the Penguins are playing the Kings. The Kings still pursuing the Oilers and Vegas in the Pacific Division. So those will be my games of the night. One of them already halfway done.
Well, you know which way I'm going. This will be the national championship game, which starts in a matter of minutes here.
What was it coming up right away? Nice.
Notre Dame and Ohio State. I think Ohio State is just too good. Their defense is better. Notre Dame's O-line is banged up. I just don't see. I mean, the spread's 8.5, and I would cover that all day. So Ohio State, Notre Dame. And I was saying that to you earlier, Reid. A lot of times these games don't live up to the hype. Some they do, but I think the best games were behind us in the college football playoffs.
All right, so that's coming up right away. More of your reaction on the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. River Cree Resort and Casino. The Kitchen Restaurant, all-you-can-eat surf and turf for just $59.99 every Friday from 4 to 10 p.m. Also, we'll look in the nasty chat. Evelyn Rojas, McDavid had enough when he got double cross checks front and back in the playoffs against the Canucks. They only got one game each. Actually, only one player got a game. Only Susie did, right? He was being headlocked he was being headlocked to the ground, and nobody did anything. Well, yeah, I mean that's the overwhelming theme here is that McDavid, like other star players in the NHL, have often had to face a lot of abuse. Even those who have had enforcers on their team or even on their line, stuff happens, right? So yeah, McDavid got upset at Conor Garland and cross-checked him in the head. Like I said earlier, it was kind of a normal progression of things. It doesn't mean McDavid should not be punished for it.
This one comes in. The River Cree inbox is humming, so keep it up. Like Reid said, 780-218-9999. And if you haven't yet, smash that thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talk. Forget that rat Garland. Make it hard on Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes Thursday. I couldn't agree more. Play physical. Bang them up. Deliver a big win. And that's pretty good retribution. Greg, the sound guy. If I'm Connor, I'm seriously considering bowing out of this midseason tournament. The NHL does squat for him, so why not just say F it and go on vacay with Leon?
We're getting other suggestions like that as well. I understand that sentiment and that logic. I don't think he will do that.
I highly doubt that as well.
I mean, he wants to play in that tournament. And I don't think... like everybody's saying that. I understand why you're saying that and what you're saying. But I don't think McDavid thinks like that. Like he wants to play on Team Canada. I don't think he's thinking, well, I'm unhappy with the suspension, so I'm going to screw over the league every chance I get. I don't really know if he's thinking like that.
Dave in Section T, would NFL refs not call a blatant PI or pass interference as a team was threatening to score a tying play because they would rather influence an outcome by not making a call or influence the outcome by making the call? Garland influenced the outcome by holding McDavid with his legs prior to tackling him later.
Yeah, but NFL refs miss calls too, guys. Like, let's not...
Oh, they sure do.
Let's not forget that.
And Duffman, isn't it a problem that we treat regular season and playoffs so differently? The rule book remains the same. As a fan and a referee of the game, it is so frustrating to see how times change. If a player is dumb enough to do something, and he puts in brackets, McDavid included, they should serve the appropriate consequence. It should not change just because it's a playoff game.
Well, and here's the other thing I got to remind people of. I didn't look at the stats for last year, and I'll give credit to Jason Greger for this as well, because he and I used to talk about it, and I think we both looked it up. There are actually, in a lot of playoff seasons, there are more power plays per game in the playoffs than in the regular season. But also in the playoffs, there's more frenetic, aggressive action that would make you think there could be even more power plays. But they suspend differently. They do suspend differently for sure. And our buddy Dustin Nielsen on Twitter just posted this. He said, calling penalties is just calling the rule book. There's a big difference between protecting stars and calling a penalty when they are being held. That's a good point. If Matthias Janmark is in the high slot and Conor Garland takes him down, it should still be a penalty. I mean, that the Garland on McDavid play is not really so much about protecting stars. It's just that holding should be a violation, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you were standing there, if you got assigned to the Oilers for one shift, make a wish Milne. And you got held. Should be a penalty.
I think the general consensus here, though, is that specifically Oilers fans feels as though Connor McDavid is slighted and not given those calls.
That too, yes.
More than your average, third line player that gets tripped and it's evident and you got to call that. You're saying Connor has to fight through a lot of that. I mean, that slew foot Kempe delivered was not even called.
Correct.
Right?
But Minnesota's saying that the chicken wing wasn't called.
Fair enough. So maybe he's getting them. I don't know.
I don't know. But the NHL, this thing aside, the NHL has more had the attitude, well, it's a tough game and you got to fight for your space. So if you're faster than everybody, we have to allow the defenders a little more leeway to try to slow you down, as opposed to saying, go to town and score goals.
Okay, noted media member in Edmonton, Terry Jones, tweeting out, too bad the Oilers weren't playing in New York, New Jersey, and Brooklyn for their next three, or Boston, Chicago, and Philadelphia.
I'm not commenting on anything Terry says, okay? I'm not.
Serious questions. Can players choose to skip the Four Nations face-off? Obviously, most wouldn't, but maybe 97 says screw you to the league. I don't even know if you could. I mean, if you got injured or something.
Well, you could not go. I mean, it's just like an all-star game. You could not go. You could decline. You could decline going. But I don't know if any player would. Because I suppose Hockey Canada say, well, then we're not going to pick you for the Olympics, though I don't know if they would say that to McDavid. Again, guys, I just don't think that's ammunition. I don't even think Connor McDavid views that as ammunition. Like, I don't think he's sitting around his house right now thinking like, oh, I only should have got 2 games. I'll show them. I won't go. I don't think he thinks that way.
So you're saying he's not sitting there throwing darts at the dartboard with Gary Bettman's picture in the middle of it.
Well, Bettman didn't make the suspension. Bettman hired the people. I guess it all trickles up to him. So I don't know about that.
I'm trying to keep up with the chat. It's so fast.
Well, this is okay. So, do you think that McDavid should skip the Four Nations face-off because his suspension is too long? I mean, McDavid knew walking off the ice Saturday night that he was going to get suspended.
Sure,
right?
And I say yes, he should skip. Why not?
Just to protest Marchand being on the team.
Yeah, it's not best on best. I didn't need this anyways. Oh, feeling a little bit tight in my right hamstring.
Yeah. So if McDavid thinks, I should have got 2 games and not 3, I guess he could appeal it, and then Bettman hears the appeal. It's probably not going to get changed. If it would, it's probably a 2-game suspension regardless. Okay, so what's going to be the fallout from this? So McDavid's delivered a chicken wing and a cross-check to the head within, 4 games of each other? 3 games of each other. Because wasn't the chicken wing last Tuesday? Yes, it was. So is it a bad
Wednesday.
thing? Is it a bad thing that he has reminded people that he has a little bit of nastiness in his game?
No.
I mean, maybe that's the bottom line. 2 games or 3, whatever. He's shown people I might cross-check you in the head if I'm mad.
But do you think this tapers other players mimicking what Conor Garland did, or does it say, ooh, ooh, I think I might have found his kryptonite. I think I might try and really agitate him and do stuff like this.
I think Connor McDavid, no, because I think players will still, like Garland knew he was putting himself at risk of getting a penalty. So I don't know if this is going to make players say, oh, this tackle McDavid, he'll cross-check me and we'll get him suspended. I don't know if they think like that in the heat of the moment. Jay Johnson says, don't forget McDavid high stick Tronic in the throat and tripped Quinn and wasn't penalized. It all works out in the end. Horrible comparison. Missing a 2-minute minor. And by the way, he didn't trip Hughes.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was
not a penalty.
He lost an edge.
Yeah, he lost an edge. I mean, I know McDavid's stick was there. It didn't cause the trip. No, I don't think this is. I don't think this is a case of, oh, this is justice because there were penalties that McDavid committed that weren't called. I don't believe in that type of stuff. He cross-checked Garland. He's getting suspended for it. Myers cross-checked Bouchard. He's getting suspended for it.
Well, and then Schrubber says that a hit to the head is a hit to the head. What the heck do you guys think you're talking about?
Well, that's what I've been saying.
And we're not. Nobody here is sitting saying this shouldn't have been a suspendable offense. The comparison here, the question is was that on the same level as the one Bouchard took to the teeth?
Right.
I guess it is in the eyes of Department of Player Safety.
I don't know how to say this one. Phyrogenocious. It has been talked about yet. The Myers cross-check on Bush was worse. In my opinion, 2 games for McDavid and 4 for Myers. Yes, we did talk about that, and I did think Myers was more extreme. And if you'd have told me when the suspensions came out, if Jay would have come up to me and said, don't look at your email, I'm just going to tell you Myers got 3 games, then I would have said McDavid got 2. That would have been my guess. So, yeah. I mean, it's not perfect. James Barrow says, did Zadorov get suspended for his hit to Skinner's head? No, but they look at that differently than a cross-check.
When he was crashing the net.
When he was crashing that. They look at that differently than a cross-check. So look, he got 3 games. Probably should have got 2. I don't think he's going to start boycotting league activities or sending Gary Bettman
It would be
mail.
It would be funny if he
and
did.
Look, this discussion is never going to go away, everybody. This is what I always say. This discussion is never going to go away. How is the game reffed? How is the game policed? How are star players treated? What retaliation is appropriate? What aggression is appropriate to express your anger or get yourself more space on the ice? This is not going to go away. This is not going to go away. We had these same discussions about Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. And Wayne Gretzky had Dave Semenko and Kevin McClellan on his teams at times and Marty McSorley. And Lemieux had a guy like, Kevin Stevens and Tocchet who, could score goals but would also go out there and fight. It doesn't go away. This is hockey, everybody. This is not going to go away. Nobody's ever going to watch a game and think, oh, man, this is like 3 weeks in a row the refs have been perfect. It's never going to happen.
No.
Man, I know I'm getting old and cynical, perhaps, but okay, I know there's Minnesota fans in the nasty chat. I know there are Minnesota fans in the nasty chat. We can tell. We're not stupid. Okay? Yes, you have an argument about McDavid knocking your guy out for an extended period of time. Yes, you have an argument. It doesn't always make sense what the league looks at and decides.
Liquid Beaver, let's just stop with the McDavid not playing in Four Nations. Totally ridiculous take. The guy is not a whiner. He is competitive and loves to compete. He will take the suspension like a man and move on.
Yeah, most likely. That's the most likely scenario. He'll be suspended. He'll sit out. He'll probably be a little bit glad that he did that. He's not going to be glad he's missing games. He's probably going to be a little bit glad he delivered that shot to Garland and showed everybody that he can do that, and he'll come back and he'll go to work. That's really what's going to happen. And at some point in the future, we'll be having this same sort of discussion about another play.
And yes, this one comes in the River Cree inbox. Is Myers a repeat offender? McDavid has been suspended before. This is the third suspension for Myers.
Myers,
right?
second for McDavid.
Yeah.
Portions of this hour presented by Canadian Brewhouse. Wing Wednesdays, unbeatable at the CBH, only 69 cents each and a mountain of flavors to savor. Flavor of the month in January is passion fruit habanero. Do that wing thing every Wednesday at Canadian Brewhouse. Keep your reaction coming in. McDavid gets a 3-game suspension, as does Tyler Myers for the cross-check on Saturday night. We will also have a very abbreviated top 3. It might just be a top 1 or the words of the day because we have a lot going on this afternoon. Here comes my good friend Zachary Kubish.
Connor McDavid has received a 3-game suspension from the NHL Department of Player Safety for his cross-check on Canucks forward Conor Garland. And McDavid will lose just under $200,000 from the suspension, seeing his next game on the 27th against Seattle. And in that same game on Saturday, Tyler Myers delivered a cross-check to the mouth of Evan Bouchard, which saw Myers getting 3 games suspension as well. And in other news, Derek Ryan has cleared waivers, while John Kilngberg had his first practice as a member of the Oilers. Earlier today, the Wild got past the Avs 3-1, and the Sabres fell 6-4 to the Kraken. Right now, the Golden Knights trail 3-2 against the Blues before the Lightning and Maple Leafs hit the ice, while Utah hosts Winnipeg. Down south, Lou Anarumo has been hired as the next defensive coordinator of the Colts, while Ben Johnson, former Lions offensive coordinator, is being hired as the head coach of the Bears. In just a moment, the Fighting Irish kick off with the Buckeyes for the College Football Playoff National Championship, and 6 games were decided in the NBA, including the Grizzlies squeaking by the Timberwolves by just 2 points. Later, Utah is on the road in New Orleans, and the Bulls tip off against the Clippers. The final segment of the Reid Wilkins Show comes on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the association, Formula One, soccer, golf, oh sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Jay Milne, lead vocals. Which song is this again? I gotta start knowing all the names of the songs.
Fallout.
Oh, this is Fallout. This was the big one.
Yeah.
All right. The news this afternoon. Connor McDavid, 3-game suspension. So he will miss tomorrow's game against Washington. He will miss Thursday's game against the Canucks. He will miss the Saturday matinee against the Buffalo Sabres. He will be eligible to return 1 week from tonight home game against the Seattle Kraken. John Klingberg practiced today. Chris Knobloch would not say an exact timeline for his return to NHL game action, but he did say at least a week. Okay? Klingberg noted that this is, well, to summarize, it's the best he's felt in years. That's really what he said.
Yep, essentially.
To boil down his 4 minutes of comments to 5 words or whatever, it's the best he's felt in years.
Which should be very optimistic for Oilers fans that were questioning this acquisition. Because there were a lot.
Yeah. Well, again, I still want to see him play. And as I said about a week ago when it first came up, I said I wouldn't sign him, but if he's signed, I'll evaluate how he plays. You know, I'm not going to keep complaining that they signed him. Go give him a chance. And I mean, and he has been skating with the junior team for about a month. And, Knobloch and Bowman have talked with him and met with him, and they seem pretty encouraged. Nuge certainly seemed to like it. Can we get to that other Nuge clip, Zach? Nugent Hopkins today was asked about some of the challenges Connor McDavid faces when being checked by opponents.
People that don't watch every day don't fully understand. And like you said, I think we do see it a little bit differently because it's not just the big plays, it's the little things constantly that he's had to deal with basically since he's come in. So, I mean, I don't think it's a build-up of that. It's just simply an individual play, but I mean, he's definitely because of his level, he's had a target on him since day one, and the way he's handled that over the years has been extremely impressive.
Well, and here's the thing, Jay. I mean, we're kind of looking at this from a lot of different angles. If you're, as much as we talk about protecting stars and stuff like that, if you're a star player or play a really important position in pro sports, you kind of accept that players might try to cross the line to impede you. I mean, even if you notice, like if you were the best rebounder in the NBA, like you're averaging 18 rebounds per game, like you're just a vacuum on the boards and you never score, like you don't even shoot, you just rebound and pass to somebody else. Even in that situation, the other team would be like, we can't let Milne go on the boards.
Dennis Rodman
do
was
something,
like that.
Elbow him in the hip.
Yeah.
Grab his shorts so they come off when he jumps. Embarrass. Like, give him a little, if he grabs the rebound, like the coach is going to say, if you see Milne on the boards, if you see Milne going for a rebound, I never want him to get it clean. I never want him landing without having been contacted in the air. You might get a few fouls. You might get so things do happen. And I think players to an extent accept that they have to play through it, as McDavid does. And that's what I've been talking about. I don't think any star player expects to be babied. And by the same token that you said it, I don't think anybody was ashamed. I don't think any Oilers teammates were ashamed or angry with McDavid after the game.
No.
They were probably like, good for you. That Garland guy gave me a little spear a couple of years ago or whatever.
Yeah, and they probably know how much that took for him to get to that level of frustration.
Right. That's a good point.
Right? They understand that this is a very composed player. So for him to go out of character and react that way says a lot. And it says a lot to the team of what he's willing and able and capable of doing if he's being treated unfairly. I don't know. The next 3 games aside, I think this is a win-win for this team coming out of this all.
How come?
I think this will really unify them as a team. You're going to see players that weren't necessarily getting the minutes get more minutes. There's going to be some lineup changes, as we know. And you're going to have opportunity. But the unifying in the locker room, I think, is really going to be what comes out of this the most for me. Is that they saw their star player do something that he doesn't really ever do. And now that's the question. How does the team react and chip in over the next 3 games?
And that's another good point. Like how much, of course they respect McDavid anyway, but does this even earn him a little more street cred
100%
in the dressing room? It's like, and if you can often see it on TV, but when I'm lucky enough to see the Oilers games in person, even an Oilers opponent, you see a guy block a shot. Remember when Janmark blocked that shot, and you could see everybody on the bench. Like I think it was him, and then he's hobbled going to the bench, and everybody's up bang. So I mean, stuff like this, they're going to be like, okay, Connor, like Good for you. You did it.
Well, and is there a feeling of the same feeling that a team has when their coach gets fired? Oh, shoot, guys, that's on us. We should have been better. We shouldn't have had it lead to this. I mean, we didn't touch on it today, but maybe we can get into it tomorrow. This team is having a hard time getting out of the first period. It's quite evident now, and they are leading the league in that issue of getting outscored and in a big way in the first period. It didn't need to get to that, but it did, and there they were in the last dying minutes of the game, down 3-2, and this is happening, which leads to this, and the refs didn't see. It all compounds and leads to where this is, where we are right now.
Yeah. Matt Hyman has emailed me a picture of a 30-year-old Notre Dame Fighting Irish jacket. Matt Hyman, you make me emotional. If you are checking in on YouTube, let's rally here to get to 200 thumbs for 2 days in a row. We did it on Friday. We got well over 200. So if you're in the nasty chat, you haven't yet given us a thumbs up, do so. Tell 2 friends to do so as well as we get into the final 7 or 8 minutes of the show. Oilers, Washington tomorrow. Ovechkin in town. I believe Ovechkin's going to address the media tomorrow, so hopefully we'll have some clips from him on the program. 6 o'clock for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show with Tom and Hernan tomorrow, and then the game will be at 7, and then Tom and Hernan will be on after the game as well with a little bit of post-game reaction. All right, let's do, I think here's what we're going to do for your top 3. We'll do the one thing, and then the other 2 things will be the words of the day.
Okay.
So it's a potpourri, a grab bag top 3.
Potpourri.
Presented by...
That's a great word.
Presented by Food Sausage, the best sausages you will ever eat, locally made, packed full of flavor. Order online or visit them in store, 6736 99th Street. Take advantage of their EST discount, 10% off your order by entering online code EST or mentioning EST in store. As Food Sausage says, you can't beat our meat. So we were going to do 3 of these. We're just going to have one now, and this is a little fun. So things you'd be surprised that Jay and I talk about. Do you have the video for this, Coop? I don't know how I stumbled on this. It's probably been within the last year or so.
Yeah, we got to get the backstory,
Don't play it yet, Coop. So this is one thing, and I don't know why this would have been suggested to me on my YouTube feed, because I watch a lot of videos about board games and comic books and movie reviews. But I occasionally will fall down a rabbit hole where I'll start watching these videos now.
We all do.
And I didn't know you watched these specifically. And then the other day at work, I had one of these types of videos on, and I said, Jay, have you ever seen these? And I was like halfway through my question, and you were like, oh yeah. You were like, those are amazing. And I was like, do you do this yourself? And you were like, well, kind of. And I've seen it done. And you were like, it's extremely smelly.
Yes, it's disgusting.
So if people are wondering what we're talking about, it's 2 guys specifically. There's one guy called Nate the Hoof Guy, and then there's another guy who I think is Scottish called the Hoof GP. His videos are better. So here's the video. It's videos of these guys who are bovine nail trimmers, I guess. They trim nails of cows and bulls, and they often show things wind up like this one here. Is this
really
the one with all the
leaking.
black gunk coming out?
This really starts leaking.
And I've seen, there was a video I watched a few weeks ago. There must have been a 4-inch nail in the cow's hoof. So he trimmed the nail around the nail and then pulled the metal nail out with a pair of pliers. There is something, though, oddly relieving and satisfying about watching these videos.
Yeah, and just the smell in there would knock you on your butt.
And this guy in this video here, because he's this is a bull he's trimming, and this black fluid just starts running out of the nail once he trims it down. And you got to remember, he does this for a living, so he would be used to the smell. But even he, a couple times, was like, "Oh my god, the smell of this." And he's Scottish, so it sounds much more almost romantic.
This guy is Irish.
Well, he's Irish.
He's
Irish. My mistake. I
Yes.
should. But look, if you're watching on YouTube, like it looks like a black pen.
And Reid, these videos have not just been coming across your timeline or mine. I've heard of other people that are like, yeah, I don't know what's up with these videos, but I can't stop watching.
Well, some of them have 4 million views.
That's incredible.
But I think it's just because there's something satisfying about it, right? Like it starts as this very dirty, injured surface, and then he either, like you've seen him pull rocks out, or again, he peels it and finds some sort of abscess or pus that leaks out, and then he makes it all look really nice and clean. So I don't know. Well, Roe said we put up a war. Come on, Roe. It wasn't that bad. You want to see disgusting.
Well, and actually what it's doing for the animal is quite relieving. And
Yes.
very helpful.
Well, yeah, it's very helpful for the animal. And it is sort of satisfying to watch.
Mhm.
There's a certain enjoying the apparently I've never played it, but my buddy was telling me there's a pressure wash video game where you just go around and pressure wash something. So it starts dirty and you have to get it 100% clean. It's a video game. And there's you know what I'm talking about, Coop? So there's something, I guess, in the human brain making something clean or even or removing whatever.
Max Bezzozu says some of those videos aren't oof bad.
Yeah. We upset a couple of people by showing that. I didn't think that needed a warning. It was a dirty cow's hoof with black pus coming out of it. I mean, sorry. If that traumatizes you, then...
we find it quite entertaining, clearly. Zach, it's time for the word of the day. Can we let it rock and roll?
The word of the day with Reid and Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
What do they gotta say?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
Let's find out.
English, do you speak it? Then you know what I'm saying.
All right. We're at 197 thumbs. Somebody rally here and get us to 200. Let your friends know we need a thumb. So the word of the day. Jay gives me a word of the day. I have to spell it and figure out the definition.
Well, the first one is, I think you're going to know. The word is, just has to tie in with the show. Consistency. Consistency.
That's the word of the, that's not the word of
That's
the
the
day.
first word of the day.
Well, CONSISTENCY.
You got it right.
Consistency is the ability to repeatably perform an action at the same level of competence.
Can you use it in a sentence pertaining to today's show?
Many of our nasties feel that the NHL does not discipline players with any consistency.
2 out of 2 for the first word of the day
that
for
was
Reid.
mockingly easy.
Okay, the second word.
201. Thanks, everybody.
Inimitable. Inimitable.
Oh, this is a good. Oh, wow. This is a good one.
Inimitable.
INOMITTABLE.
Ooh, so close, so close.
Just one T?
INIMITABLE.
Well, I wasn't that close.
Inimitable.
Oh, inimitable. That means not capable of being imitated.
So I mispronounced it.
Well, I thought you said omittable, like
Inimitable.
Yeah.
It's able.
So incapable of being imitated.
You nailed that, Reid.
I nailed it, just like in that cow's hoof that then we had to extract it from on the video.
Thank you, Nasties. We hit 207 just in time. Wow, this is great. We're going to keep it going this week.
It's already halfway through the first quarter. National championship game, the CFP national championship game. Sounds like a breathing disease or something. I got CFP. No score between Notre Dame and Ohio State. So here's the deal. Connor McDavid, 3-game suspension. Tyler Myers, also a 3-game suspension for those cross-checks on Saturday night in Vancouver. John Klingberg practiced today with the Edmonton Oilers. He's at least a week away from appearing in a National Hockey League game. All right. Our live programming resumes tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. with the Nielsen Show. We'll have the next edition of the Reid Wilkins Show at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. On behalf of Zachary Kubish and the glue guy, Jay Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins. Thanks for checking out the program.
Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the association, Formula One, soccer, golf. Oh, sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.